Seattle Mariners. Griffey, Johnson, Buhner, Charlton. New York Yankees, Mattingly, Williams, Boggs, O'Neill. They're all here tonight because of two men. Edgar Martinez yesterday put on one of the greatest hitting displays in the history of the game. He evened the score for what Jim Leyritz accomplished in the early morning rain Thursday in the Bronx. Ken Griffey Jr. is fulfilling his destiny. He was born and raised to take center stage. Yesterday, Paul O'Neill boosted the Yankees to a seemingly insurmountable 5-0 lead. They were halfway to Cleveland. But Edgar Martinez refused to lose. And now it's high noon for the Yankees' hired gun. Decision time in the Great Northwest. ABC Sports welcomes you to Game 5 of the Division Series between the Western Division champion, Seattle Mariners, and the American League wild card, the New York Yankees. Well, good evening and welcome, everybody. With Jim Cott, I'm Brent Musburger. Nice to have you along with us. Jimmy, the mood between these two teams is really stark here today, but I guess the stakes are different. Let's start with the Seattle Mariners.
Well, what a contrast. I think I was more nervous around the batting cage than Lou Piniella. Lou Piniella is loose. His team is loose. What does it mean to the Mariners if they win? Obviously, they play the Cleveland Indians. But if they lose, I think they still win. This has been a great year up here. Record attendance. The club has had the best year in franchise history. The only player that might feel a little pressure tonight would be their starting pitcher, Andy Bennis. He's never been in a championship game before. He's a free agent at the end of this year. If he could come up with a super effort in Game 5, it could be worth several $1 million to that young right-hander.
A little bit different with the New York Yankees. I think it's safe to assume that they were more apt to be sleepless in Seattle last night. The stakes a little bit different for this organization.
Very, very quiet around the batting cage in the Yankee camp. And what would it mean to them if they won? I think it would be a relief to the Yankees. They had a great September to get into the playoffs. They took a 2-game lead in New York. They have a 5-0 lead in Game 4. Can't hold on to it. So if they would win, I think they'd say, we can go to Cleveland. If they lose, could be devastating. Buck Showalter doesn't have a contract. Don Mattingly doesn't have a contract. There could be a lot of changes on that ball club.
We have had some magnificent hitting in this series so far. 19 home runs. That's a high for any postseason series.
You talk about a Seattle heart attack. Just look at the middle, the heart of the Seattle lineup. Ken Griffey Jr. with a home run to put him ahead last night. The dramatic grand slammer by Edgar Martinez. Tino Martinez hitting right behind him. Often goes unnoticed. Add all those numbers up, hitting almost 450. 7 home runs, 19 RBIs. Now the Yankees have a trio equally as potent. It starts with Bernie Williams, who has 9 hits. That's tied for the series lead. Don Mattingly had 4 hits in last night's game. And of course, Paul O'Neill had that 2-run homer to give them the 5-0 lead. They're hitting over 450. They have 5 home runs and they've knocked in 13.
And Jim, if you want a pitcher for Game 5 at a divisional series, well, it's simply dial a pitcher.
David Cone, 7 postseason starts. This is the first time that 2 pitchers acquired during the year have ever hooked up in postseason play. Andy Bennis, of course, is a fastball pitcher. He has to get his breaking ball and changeup over if he's going to hold down this Yankee fastball hitting lineup.
So one more time in this great series, the Kingdome is ready to rock. We pause for these messages from our ABC station. Watching and waiting with the rest of us, the Cleveland Indians, and congratulations to that organization and their fine fans. Joining us here today, Jack Arute. And Jack, what about Luis Sojo taking the field here for the Mariners?
Well, Brent, it was a scary moment back in the 8th inning last night during a Yankee double play when Mariners shortstop Luis Sojo slid into the second base and took a spike on the inside of his wrist. Now, it broke the skin, and I spoke to Luis during batting practice, and he said, immediately I had no feeling. I felt in my hand as if maybe I had severed a tendon. He thought maybe he wouldn't even be playing in Game 5. When the swelling subsided, they examined it closely, and they didn't even need any stitches. He said, it's stiff, but there is no problem tonight because normally I would have taken the day off. but not in this case.
All right, Jack, thank you. And here's tonight's Budweiser starting lineup for the New York Yankees. The same as yesterday. Wade Boggs, Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, Ruben Sierra, Don Mattingly, Deion James, Mike Stanley, Tony Fernandez, and Randy Velarde set to tee off against Andy Bennis. And Jim Cott, you've been there so many times in the past. Big game. He doesn't have big game experience, as you pointed out. How do you settle down? How does he get a hold of his nerves?
I would say, Brent, that the one thing Andy Bennis has going for him, actually he has a couple of things: an outstanding fastball, a good changeup, and a slider. But it pays to be a power pitcher if it's the first time in these situations, because the adrenaline, the noise of the crowd is going to pump him up. That'll only help that fastball.
The man behind the plate who will be calling the balls and strikes, and he's one of the better umpires in the American League. It's Jim Evans. Danny Morrison down at first. Tim Welke moves to second. John Hirschbeck's at third. Down the lines, Joe Brinkman and Rocky Rowe. The umpires have been very much a part of this series, and a couple of stories left over from yesterday's game. We will get to it. We had a brushback war that was intercepted by Brinkman as we take a look at the lineup behind Bennis.
That's the same alignment that Lou Piniella has had in first 4 games. Vince Coleman in left, Ken Griffey Jr. in center, Jay Buhner in right. Around the infield, Mike Blowers, Luis Soho, who Jack talked about, Joey Cora. He's made more errors than any second baseman in the American League. Tino Martinez at first. Dan Wilson, an outstanding catcher.
Wade Boggs steps in to lead it off. And again, if the Yankees win, because they are the wild card, they cannot have the home field advantage in the league's championship series, so they will go to Cleveland to open up on Tuesday night. But if the Mariners win, then the Indians will jet to the Northwest. Missing the corner on the outside. The catcher Danny Wilson was very active yesterday, unable to stop just one bad pitch thrown by Norm Charlton. He's a one-time high school goaltender, very active behind the plate.
Go again, those Seattle fans with 2 strikes. They did it for 9 innings yesterday.
Got him. That is a live fastball that Bennis has brought to game 5.
And not very often do you throw a fastball by Wade Boggs and he swings and misses.
Now let's see what the hottest Yankee in terms of number of hits has to offer as you watch this strike again.
Swung right through it, something Boggs does not do often.
Bernie Williams became the first player in postseason history to hit a home run batting left-handed and right-handed in one postseason game. And Bennis is firing bullets right now. This is the kind of start that can calm down a young pitcher. It's a very menacing look, isn't it? And he is just missing on that outside corner.
That's going to be his key, as it is most of the time for pitchers, even if you throw hard. He has to get the changeup over and the slider, because eventually these Yankees will catch up with the fastball.
Out of play.
Boggs with the fastball, and that one with the hard slider.
Paul O'Neill and Bennis looks very eager to go to work. Good pitchers are always ready to fire. They can't wait. That one did not miss by much. Evans might have looked down at that ball.
It's the kind of game you won't see Andy Bennis stand still very often. He's in constant motion. We saw it in yesterday's game from the mounds. Pitchers were trying to spit and they couldn't do it. That's how tight things were.
It'll get tighter. Oh, look for the appeal. Nothing doing, says third base umpire John Hirschbeck.
He will be a key man, Brent. John Hirschbeck. The Yankees have 7 left-hand hitters, and Bennis is going to try to go down and away with the changeup and breaking ball. And you'll see a lot of those almost swings. O'Neill.
Forget the almost swing. I thought the pitch was high enough. 3 balls and 1 strike. Get high in the air and playable in the outfield. Vince Coleman, and the Yankees are going in order here in the top of the first. Now here's tonight's Budweiser starting lineup for the Seattle Mariners. One change for Lou Piniella. He has dropped third baseman Mike Blowers to that 9 spot. Dan Wilson jumps ahead of him. But folks, the top part, Vince Coleman, Joey Cora, must keep him off because the next hitters have wreaked havoc. Ken Griffey, Edgar Martinez, Tino Martinez, and even the 6-man Jay Buhner. And Luis Sojo has been a dangerous out for the Mariners.
When you talk to the Mariners hitters about David Cone, it's not very often you hear left-hand hitters say, this guy has got a nasty slider. Lefties like to hit the slider. Cone, and that's what he did in game 1, has a good slider, good fork ball. The blister on the middle finger is healed. He has no problems, and he has his full 4 days rest.
Jimmy, which finger did you say that blister's on?
On the middle finger, and he thought it was from throwing the fork ball. It bothered him for a couple of starts, but it's all right now. Yankees in the field have Deion James in left, Bernie Williams in center, Paul O'Neill in right. Gold glovers in the infield, Boggs, Fernandez, and Mattingly. Randy Velarde at second. Mike Stanley outstanding behind the plate.
Mattingly had difficulty yesterday defensively, and it was unusual. Buck Showalter so well knows to see Don a little bit shaky, not only physically but mentally at one time. We'll have a chance to review that play for you. Now here is Vince Coleman, and when he gets on base, especially on artificial turf, things start to happen. Mike Stanley flashes the sign out to Cone. Jim Evans is your plate umpire, bottom of the first. So he'll be out of play. Some of the largest crowds in the history of this franchise. Seattle waiting 19 years to reach postseason competition, and they're hoping to make the most of it. Usually when you come up to the Northwest, you find all kinds of football fans, basketball fans. Nice to see the area turning its attention to baseball. Now Cone.
2 biggest acquisitions for the Mariners. Middle of August, they got Vince Coleman. Middle of July, Norm Charlton. That's what's really helped turn this team's fortunes around. Charlton out of the bullpen, of course.
1-1. In the air to center field, and Bernie Williams comes in along with James from left, and James will call for it.
That's the thing about David Cone. He is a fly ball pitcher, and Coleman and Cora do their damage when they can slap it off the turf.
Well, like Coleman, Cora is a switch hitter, and he'll be batting left-handed. And after Coleman coaxed a walk in that fateful 8th inning yesterday, it was Cora's drag bunt which really ignited the rally and helped set the table for Edgar Martinez's grand slam home run. high in the air, shallow center, and this time Bernie Williams will take it. So quickly 2 fly outs here at the bottom of the first inning.
Batting third, center fielder number 24, Ken Griffey Jr.
He's enjoying a monster. 4 home runs, but the Yankees get a little bit of an edge. Anytime you can get Griffey up without anybody on base, it's an advantage.
Out most of the season, or half of the season, with that wrist injury, and his timing has come back at a perfect time. In September, he was still a little sluggish with the bat, but here in postseason play, like a lot of stars, they elevate their game. Griffey certainly has.
Close to that inside corner.
And that's what pitchers do in games like this. You feel out the home plate umpire and find out what that zone is going to be, how liberal, how tight.
That's 2 balls and 1 strike. Hit high and playable in the infield. Fernandez waits for it. And now the Mariners are out in order here. We are through 1. It's scoreless in Seattle. Jim, let's take everybody back yesterday. We had a brushback incident. Might have been ignited, but for some quick work by the umpire. Chris Bosio and umpire Joe Brinkman had a session to settle it out on the mound.
Actually, it was good gamesmanship by Lou Piniella. Scott Kamenicki, who Piniella says consistently throws up and in, knocked down Joey Cora. And he'd even talked about it with his bench coach before the game, Lee Elia. He said, if they do that, I'm going to instruct my pitcher to knock one of the Yankees down. Joe Brinkman intercepted it, and what Lou said, it took all the inside pitches away for the rest of the game, and his hitters could dig in, and they did.
Now Ruben Sierra steps in. Stanley Bettis, and there's one that is high, and Sierra just moving around a little bit in the batter's box. He has been quiet as the designated hitter since the series has shifted here to the Kingdome. And it's 2 balls. Hit deep. Coming over though is Coleman, and Griffey runs in front of him and makes the put out.
Batting fifth, first baseman number 23, Don Mattingly.
What was interesting about the scene on the mound yesterday, and those of you who were watching along with us remember that Brinkman and Rocky Rose spent a long time out there on the mound. The fact is that Bosio did not believe the messengers. When they said it's off, we're not throwing at anybody, Lou Piniella had to come off the bench to tell Bosio, look, that's right, we're not going to engage in any warfare, and the game continued.
Yeah, we got lost. What got lost in that wild game yesterday, and the gamesmanship we talked about, is this guy, Mattingly. Tough day in the field, but he had 4 hits.
So far it has been a small strike zone in this game. Evans pumps the right hand that time. A ball and a strike.
Those that have not seen a lot of Mattingly, one thing he's added in the last month is a leg kick, like so many big league hitters do. Instead of the level stride, he'll pick that front leg up.
Not a bad one that time, but fouled it away. And now it comes to 1 and 2. Fastball pitcher can bring a breaking ball that breaks that sharply into a game that quickly. He is a dangerous pitcher right now, folks.
A couple pitches like that, and we'll see Buck Showalter try to do the same thing Piniella did. Bennis will try to push lefties off the plate and get them out, down, and away.
Yeah, Bennis is demanding the inside part of the plate. No question about it. 2-2. So the Evansville connection. Andy Bennis looking in at the player he grew up admiring, Don Mattingly, with that leg kick of his and staying alive. Evansville, Indiana. 2-2.
Andy Bennis might be a little in awe right now, growing up and going to the University of Evansville. Mattingly was his hero. When he signed his contract, he celebrated in Mattingly's restaurant.
High, lazy fly ball.
You almost get the feeling after that wild one yesterday that everybody is swinging. The hitters are kind of feeling their way through the first couple of innings here. Yesterday, everybody was digging in from the heels, cut and slashed from the first pitch.
We did not have any inning in which either the Yankees or the Mariners were retired in order yesterday. And so far here today, we haven't had a single base runner as the fortunes ebb and flow in this grand game. Flash foul and out of play.
Of course, that's what tells you what is different about the game of baseball every day are the starting pitchers. And it's going to be a little tougher to score runs against these two guys.
James had a notion. Credit him with good thinking. Last year, strike didn't bother him a bit. He was playing baseball in Japan. Ball on a strike now. 2 outs on Dion James.
Is probably watching this game. He's a member of the Atlanta Braves. Was the Yankees starting left fielder. James is really a better pinch hitter, but since Polonia was designated, he's become the everyday left fielder, not as effective.
Slow bounder. Tino Martinez will make the play at first base, and the Yankees again are out in order. He was born in New York and raised in Puerto Rico, and now he has come to Seattle to haunt the New York Yankees.
Against John Wetland, bases loaded.
Deep to center field. Back, put it on the scoreboard. A grand slam for Edgar Martinez, his second home run of the game.
Very unnoticed, Brent, out here. Not in Seattle, but in the baseball world. Mo Vaughn, Albert Bell get more support, but they'd like Edgar for president here. He is a legitimate MVP candidate.
For many of you, I know the Seattle Mariners exist only in box scores. But you are looking at someone who is one of the great players today, and we do not use that loosely. Yes, that's what he's hitting in this championship series. 600. This is the purest of the pure hitters right here. One of the few times that we have seen a wild swing against that biting, breaking ball offered up by Cone.
See the bite on that slider, and that's the key to David Cone's game.
I promised Jimmy, my National League friends, that I wouldn't bring it up, but here it is. When we look at Edgar Martinez, we've got to say that without the designated hitter rule, we would not have an Edgar Martinez. He would not exist in baseball today.
He was a third baseman, hurt his knee, can't play in the field, but he can hit.
1-1. Low. So Evans is going to make sure that that pitch is up above the knees. At least that's what he's indicating to both sides so far.
Not many right-handers can boast that number against David Cone.
2-1. got to bite on that first pitch, but not that one. And the count now is in favor of Edgar. Here's the hitter's count, 3-1. Good looking pitch. Down low, high chopper, base hit center field. Martinez, the first base runner in this game. He continues to wear out the Yankee pitchers.
Yankees have to feel good about this. They kept it in the ballpark. Actually, it was a good pitch by David Cone, but the turf here in Seattle is very lively. And Edgar takes the low pitch off the turf for a bouncing single.
Tino Martinez, non-brothers. This the first baseman. One time, first round draft choice. There's one birthday today that we will not be celebrating. 39 years ago, Don Larson pitched that perfect game classic over the Brooklyn Dodgers. Final there was 2-0, and Edgar Martinez has taken care of that in a hurry.
Again, if you have not followed the Yankees, Buck Showalter, more than any manager I've been around the big leagues in 36 years, will pay close attention to base runners. Edgar Martinez is not a threat to steal, but Buck still likes to get their attention over there. That'll go into Mike Stanley. Actually, some pitchers resent this a little. It takes them out of their rhythm, paying too much attention to guys who are not threats to steal.
There goes Martinez on the hit and run, and it is fouled away.
And you'll probably see a bit of that. That was not a steal, but a hit and run. Edgar looking back at Sam Perlaza to see if it's on again. Both of these managers will try to get an early run.
The riverboat gambler. He'll take a chance. He used 6 of his 9 pitchers to stay alive yesterday. And today, his ace, Randy Johnson, available if he needs him for an inning. And wouldn't the Cleveland Indians love to see him out there for at least an inning? 1-1. High and out of play.
Now they've changed their allegiance today, I think, Brett. The Cleveland Indians, they like to see the Seattle win and all those pitchers forced to game 5 for David Cone, but now I think they would prefer to see the Yankees. The Yankees would go to Cleveland.
Mike Stanley is looking up at a bar that runs across directly behind home plate, and a ball that is hit foul right behind home, which strikes it, is out of play, but it is possible, and I have seen several here in the past in the Kingdome come back down. They're caught by a catcher, but that is out of play. Now Tino Martinez, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Not going this time.
There's a few of those things can happen in the Kingdome. They have some speakers that could come into play also, and those of you who've seen games in the Astrodome and the Metrodome are aware of that.
Stanley sets up on the outside corner. Down low, nice pickup by Mike Stanley, who also did a good job behind the plate yesterday. There is the speaker that Jim Cott referred to, and Jimmy, let's talk about that rule.
Well, most of them are in foul territory, and if it hits the speaker, of course, the ball's in play. You can catch it, and it's an out.
Nobody out, no score. We're in the bottom of the second. Tino Martinez counts full. Edgar Martinez away from first. He's going. Whacked, base hit to left field, but Edgar will hold at second.
That's what's been impressive about this Mariner lineup. Tino Martinez getting better every day, uses the whole field. The other night they had the bases loaded and 3 straight hitters took the ball the opposite way, as Martinez does there.
So now Lou Piniella has a choice. He has a power hitter, Jay Buhner, batting number 6. He hasn't had a whole lot of RBI production from his bottom third, but the way Andy Bennis is throwing right now, does Piniella want to play this and move the runners along? Let's find out.
He is shocked if Buhner tried to bunt.
And certainly not there, taking the strike right at the knees.
In fact, the most dramatic game these two teams had, August 24th, David Cone started. Buhner hit a first inning grand slam. That was the one Ken Griffey Jr. ended with a home run.
Blocked, and the runners cannot move up. Another good job by Stanley behind the plate.
Now those little plays could be big in a game like this. Norm Charlton threw a few of those 56-foot fork balls yesterday that Dan Wilson had to block. And here Mike Stanley, you won't see it in the box score, but that keeps the runners from advancing. Would have been as good as a sacrifice.
It's a ball on a strike to Buhner. Cone is ready. Great breaking ball.
If you ever watch any bowling on television, you know how that ball just bites and bites and then digs into the pocket the last few feet. That's what David Cone's slider does. I mean, it gets right up to the hitter and then bites hard, and that's why it's equally effective against lefties and righties.
His first strikeout victim.
Number 9, Luis Soho.
Well, here comes one of those handy fellas to have around. Luis Soho got the big hit with the bases loaded against the California Angels in that one-game playoff, which won the West for the Mariners. He'll give up the shortstop job next year to their wonderkin, Alex Rodriguez, but who knows who will finish in that position. It's a long way to September and October in the baseball season, and Soho is really a good man to have around. There's the youngster. He is active.
Sitting next to the veteran, Ken Griffey Jr., all of 25. This is the man Lou Piniella would have liked to have had at the plate with nobody out. Soho with good ability to hit the ball the other way. If you look at him facially, remember the big red machine, he looks a lot like Davey Concepcion. Concepcion was his idol. Luis is from Venezuela, like Davey was. Same actions.
Did he go? Got away from Stanley, and this time the runners will move up. 2 balls, no strikes, the count. And now Edgar Martinez could score if one gets away and goes back toward the backstop, and Fernandez will trot in for a word will come.
That somewhat nullifies the strikeout by Buhner. There's the spin on that breaking ball that Mike Stanley has to contend with. Fernandez checking with Stanley. They want to know what sign. Anytime you get a man on second, the sign sequence from the catcher will change. Tony wants to make sure he's got the right one. Cheetah step on the breaking ball.
The Yankee infield with 1 out likes to play back here on the carpet. Boggs almost even with the bag. Mattingly is off of it against Soho, and the infielders are back. Of course, Edgar Martinez is not the swiftest of runners, and Soho hits one in the air, drifting foul toward the Yankee dugout, and out of play.
That's a good situation for Buck Showalter when you talk about the infield. First of all, Cone is a fly ball pitcher, but if he were to hit a ground ball, it's lively turf that gets to the infielders in a hurry, and Edgar Martinez does not have good speed.
to strike.
He's quieted this crowd down a little today, something no other Yankee pitcher was able to do yesterday.
Emotionally drained after yesterday, but they'll be back. 2-2 and 1 out. Oh, swung on a bad one. Helped Cone out, his second strikeout here in a row. Buhner and Soho down, and up comes the number 8 hitter, Danny Wilson.
And a big strikeout. That's something David Cone has been able to do in postseason play. Make good pitches with men in scoring position. He did not do that as well during the regular season. That's perfect spot, up and in. No way Soho could get the barrel to it.
Well, let's see if Pinella's lone lineup move pays off here. He jumped Wilson ahead of Blowers to bat 8. And wouldn't you know it, at the bottom of the second, Wilson comes up with runners on at second.
2 fastballs just to give him the benefit of it.
Off to a strong start. Ball and 2 strikes. 2 out. No score in the bottom of the second. It's a wonderful game, isn't it? One day it belongs to the hitters, and the next day it belongs to the pitchers. No one wants to go to Cleveland any more than George Steinbrenner, as you see behind Reggie Jackson there in the second row. Remember, that's where Steinbrenner is from. How great would it be for him to take this Yankee team in? Well, will they make it? Anyway, the first game, regardless of whether it's the Yankees or the Mariners, Tuesday 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. We'll have regional coverage of both the American League Championship Series and the National League. And congratulations go out certainly to the Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds. The National League Series figures to be a great one. The Reds may be better than some of you think they are. Those of you who haven't had an opportunity to watch them recently. That is a loaded baseball team. Mike Stanley now steps in here in the bottom of the third. Yankees looking for a base runner. Just any indication that they can jump on Venice and put something together. I absolutely think that this crowd is emotionally drained. They are now in the third inning, one of the largest crowds in the history of the franchise, and you can actually hear somebody speak here for the first time in about 3 days. Sharp ground ball, base hit left field. The Yankees with their first base runner.
Yeah, they'll need some of those double lattes they serve up here in Seattle today. There's no way a crowd could get up and down for 4 hours like they did yesterday.
You see?
Yeah, they're waiting. Mike Stanley, good low ball hitter, takes advantage of the turf. It'll get through that infield in a hurry here in the Kingdome.
And now it's Tony Fernandez with a lot of big game experience. He was with the Blue Jays, batting left-handed. Stanley away from first base.
Might see a bunt here.
Not indicating bunt that time, but he took a pitch for a strike.
Buck Showalter uses the sacrifice bunt less than any manager in the American League, but this is a different game. Get David Cone a run, things could be different.
Blowers is in and on the line at third base. You can see him just in case. Just a bit high, and Jim Evans has been consistent up in there. He has not called that pitch a strike here yet. 1 ball and 1 strike now. We're in the top of the third inning. This is the Yankees and the Mariners with Jim Evans behind the plate. Andy Benes on the mound. Danny Wilson's the catcher. This is game 5. Slaps a ground ball to short. Soho will take it himself. The fire on. Got it.
Wilson sets up outside, and it looked like Fernandez was trying to slap it to the left side and advance the runner. Soho comes in and can make that play by himself. The Mariner infield, not one of the best in the field in the American League during the year, but they've only made two errors here in the division series.
That's amazing. That is the first ground ball double play that Bennis has recorded since he came from San Diego to Seattle.
Is that an omen? Oh. Like Cone, he's a fly ball pitcher and a strikeout pitcher.
So handy Randy Velarde. Wilson backing away, backhands it. Picking up a slap shot, reaching over there with the big hockey glove. Ball and a strike now with 2 out here at the top of the third. Sort of building slow here today, isn't it, folks? Oh yes.
Get picked up in a hurry, though.
It's that count. Anytime it reaches 2 strikes, they're ready. High and out of play.
You mentioned Randy Velarde, the all-purpose player. He plays left, third, short, second, and he and Don Mattingly are the only 2 Yankees left over from when Lou Piniella managed the Yankees back in the 80s.
The captain, his first postseason competition. Velarde ready now. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 2 out. Check swing, foul ball. This is an interesting umpiring crew. Jim Evans, like Joe Brinkman, down the left field line. Both crew chiefs. And they were all relaxed down the lot watching NFL football. They're great sports fans, except for Evans. He was all alone with his thoughts.
Well, they prepare, probably feel tension like the players do in big games like this.
This is where you earn your salary if you're a major league umpire, right there behind the plate. I said to Rocky, I said, Rocky, Jim and I only had to really second guess you on 1 pitch yesterday. He looked up, he said, well, my wife had me on 4.
He had a good day.
Yes, he did. 2-2 and 2 out now. Yes, you bet. Still scoreless in Seattle. Well, a very unusual play featuring Don Mattingly yesterday because he made a little bit of a mental blunder. Ordinarily, he's one of the finest first basemen around. We're going to take you back to game 4.
Randy Velarde, first of all, the second baseman, made the first mistake not flipping to Fernandez, but then Mattingly said, I never should have thrown that ball. Went into center field. That allowed the Mariners to score the tying run.
Batting ninth, the bottom of the third baseman, number 16, Mike Flowers.
Number 9 hitter, Mike Flowers. Stepping in for the Mariners, like Jay Buhner. Spent some time with the New York Yankees. Has not been making enough contact to satisfy Piniella so far in this playoff series. Top of the order is next. Right there.
When he does make contact, he's one of those guys that gets almost an RBI for every hit. He had 113 hits during the year, 96 RBIs. That's a pretty good ratio.
Jimmy, so far Cone is doing an excellent job of painting that outside corner.
Like that. David Cone is a stuff pitcher, but then when he has the pinpoint control to go with the stuff, that's why the Yankees got him for games like this.
Last 0-2, he wasted one. Look out, breaking ball, wouldn't you think?
You wonder on David Cone, he doesn't look like a large physical specimen, but he gets a lot of leverage from those legs. He'll almost rise up when he makes that turn. Gets a little locked into that motion. Now there is the difference right there in the game today, in the game of about 15 to 20 years ago. That pitch, there's the rock. See, the head will actually go up and then down toward the hitter. But that was a hanging breaking ball that Blowers took. A very hittable pitch, but hitters today like the ball down in the zone.
2-2 from Cone. Stance, he'll close it down. Jimmy, you would think that hitters, and we see so many of them with that open stance like Flowers, when they shut it down, you'd want to saw them off inside, that they couldn't handle that good pitch on the inside corner.
But it's not where they start, it's where they finish. And like Buhner, from the open stance, he will stride into the ball and get in a closed position.
Get high and playable. All O'Neill. O'Neill coming up, and it can be caught for a putout, as Jim told you. Vince Coleman now, the leadoff hitter. A couple of times in this series, big things have developed for the Mariners when Coleman was able to coax a walk out of the pitcher and start to set the table. Now he has Cone quickly down a ball.
Got a contrast in the top of these batting. Wade Boggs and Bernie Williams, 300 hitters that don't use their speed. They do some damage. Coleman and Cora at the top of the Mariner lineup. Slap the ball, steal bases, hit and run.
And Boggs in a couple of steps. See Wade, third base, directly in front of that white line. You know, it's interesting. You certainly can remember decisive games at the Metrodome in Minneapolis where it was never quiet. Here, subdued, sort of on their hands, waiting for something to happen. 3-1 and 1 out. It's the kind of sound the Yankees hope continues. This one playable again. Williams, shallow center field, and that's the second out.
A lot of anticipation in the crowd, waiting for something to happen.
So the Giants pull one out in OT. The Woeful Jets lose again. Seattle's football team struggling while the baseball team's fortunes soar. Tampa Bay by a field goal. And how about the job that Tom Coughlin is doing with the Jaguars in Jacksonville? Troy Aikman comes back early, and an overtime big win for the Eagles. This is Joey Cora, and he is up there with 2 out. Now, what's important about this out right now? You see the Bears score and another overtime game in the NFL. What's important is Cone gets him, and this one's deep to right field. O'Neill goes back. It's deep, deep, and Joey Cora hits a home run. The Mariners lead it.
Center fielder number 24, Ken Griffey Jr.
From an unlikely source, Joey Cora, who only had 3 home runs during the year, gets a high fastball. David Cone gave up 24. That's his career high. It's been a problem for him.
And here is Ken Griffey, and time is called by the plate umpire. Now Griffey settles back in. 1-0 Seattle. Bottom of the 3rd inning on the inside corner. I was all set Let me complete the sentence. What was so important about that out is, hey, you can get Griffey up with nobody on. Well, guess what, folks? He's up with nobody on.
But you're down one.
Mariners are up by 1. Bad pitch. Griffey helped him out that time, and he's down. No balls and 2 strikes with 2 out.
There's another free agent signing that Woody Woodward, the general manager, signed that has strengthened this ball club. Joey Cora, playoff experience with the White Sox 2 years ago.
Oh, get down there, Mejias.
Nobody's safe when the heart of this order comes up. Sam Mejias, the first base coach. Lou Piniella brought him over from Cincinnati.
More like that, he'll be scratching gray hair up there. 0-2-2 now to the kid. Foul. Well, you can see down in that bullpen area, and the California Angels are going to be interested in what I'm about to tell them, because they had that ball by Soho go in underneath that bench down there, and Soho came all the way around the bases. Anything going down there in this series, stopping underneath, is going to be an automatic ground rule double. Missing inside against Griffey. That ground rule was altered prior to the start of this series by this umpiring crew in agreement with the 2 managers. 1 ball and 2 strikes. No. What a past and what a future. Baseball is to regain its fans, its players, Ken Griffey Jr. will bring them back. Two-two. Hit in the air to right field, but this one is playable. And with all these great players, it's Joey Cora who hits the first home run. Back with more after this from our ABC stations. We start the 4th inning. The Mariners won. The Yankees nothing. And the top of the Yankee lineup. Second time around for Wade Boggs. And what impresses you so far about Andy Benes?
The fact that he's aggressive early in the count. Other times I've seen him, he's been a little tentative, falling behind. But this will be a key go-around for Benes, because Boggs is the hitter that the Yankee lineup looks at. He sees a pitcher once, they go up with a little different thought. He comes back to the bench, they work him into deeper counts.
Hit to left field. Vince Coleman drifting over, measures it.
So that again, Brent, is what's impressive about Benes. Boggs was not able to take him to a deep count. He's getting ahead and making the pitcher's pitches to put him away.
Jim, I know you spent some time with Lou Piniella, and what about Randy Johnson? Is he available at all today?
If the Mariners have a lead and Norm Charlton is out of the game or not pitching effectively, you will see him for maybe 1 inning at the most.
So here's Bernie Williams against Benes. Did he go? Yes, he did. Hirschbeck. Evans did not hesitate in asking him on that too. Some umpires will take their time before they go down there, but Evans gets a quick call from the third base umpire.
There's that check swing on the down and away pitch that is going to be so important. We'll see John Hirschbeck involved in a lot of those.
Low. Now with a 1-run lead. This the decisive Game 5. Winner moves on. The American League Championship Series against the Cleveland Indians. Jim, let me go back on that point. Why do you think the Indians, other than the obvious, the home field, want to play the Yankees?
Well, they respect both ball clubs, but if they have to come in here with this hostile crowd, they'll look at Randy Johnson probably in Game 1. If they play the Yankees, David Cone will not start Game 1. Neither will Jack McDowell.
2-1 now to Bernie. Missing outside.
course, McDowell will be available in the bullpen today, as will it'll be Johnny Holstaff if the starter can't hold him. He'd be available, and if the Yankees win it, probably Andy Pettit, their fine rookie left-hander, would start game 1.
And Jack McDowell would be available for 2, but he also is available today if they need him in an emergency. And Bernie Williams has coaxed a walk off Bennis, and a reminder of what's coming up tomorrow night on ABC. Start off with the Marshall, Jeff Fahey in a brand new episode, then NFL Monday Night Football. Al and Dan and Frank will take you along with Lynn Swan to the San Diego Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. 9 Eastern time. Should be a good football game. Great setting down there in Kansas City for an NFL game. It's a little bit like a college setting, and wasn't yesterday. Something around the college arenas. My oh my. Now Paul O'Neill in for his second at bat. One out, and Bernie on at first base.
O'Neill saw a lot of Bennis in the National League, and he hits him well. 350, almost a 350 career average.
Sends him to the dirt.
Yankees don't steal off. Bernie Williams, a great center fielder, good all-around athlete, but he does not have good base stealing instincts. That's why he's not been able to utilize that speed as well. The Yankees like the sacrifice bunt. They also steal less than any team in the American League.
O'Neill hoping to sting the Mariners again. He does. Look out. O'Neill's got one out of here. Put it on the scoreboard, and the Yankees bounce ahead on O'Neill's home run. There is a tradition that perhaps started at Wrigley Field. Certainly that was the first place where I was ever aware of it. That never keep the end of these home run souvenirs. Send it on back.
It's been a tradition for the Yankees in this series. Paul O'Neill with 2-run homers. He hit the 2-run homer yesterday to give them a 5-0 lead, and now again he continues to hit Bennis well like he did in the National League. Got on top of that high fastball.
And Ruben Sierra with 1-2. Griffey in center field. And Griffey makes the put out for the second out, swinging away quickly at that first pitch. Bennis not hesitating before he brings it home. And now Don Mattingly will step up with the Yankees leading for the first time 2-1 here in the top of the 4th inning. In that classic back in the Bronx, Yankees came from behind 4 times. That a postseason record. Here they have jumped from behind for the first time. Mattingly lines one. Buhner has to come in on it quickly. Makes the play. The Yankees jump ahead on Paul O'Neill's home run. Yesterday the Mariners were back 5 when Edgar Martinez slammed his first home run, a 3-run shot. The regular season numbers, he deserves to be ranked with all the other MVP candidates.
First or second in those top 6. Look at the on-base percentage. Led the league in hitting and in walks of Mo Vaughn and Albert Bell, the other MVP candidate. Edgar's the only one that walks more than he strikes out. Consistent contact. He is the most valuable hitter, best hitter in the league.
Works with weights. He's bulked up. You see the strength of his forearms. The hitting specialist has not missed a game this year. Played in more games than anybody in the major leagues. Remember, that playoff game against the Angels counts as a regular season game. So Edgar Martinez in 145 games, and of course he has now appeared in all 5 of these divisional series games. High, did not get it, and Don Mattingly drifts into foul territory for the put out. And a sigh of relief from Yankee fans everywhere.
That's quite an accomplishment. And not many teams, no team, I don't think, in the major leagues can boast they have the best pitcher in the league, Randy Johnson, the best hitter in the league, Edgar Martinez, and when healthy, the best all-around player in the league, Ken Griffey Jr. They got all three right here in Seattle.
So it's Tino Martinez up for the second time, and the Mariners trailing the Yankees in Game 5 by 1. Call by Tino. One of the things about David Cone, Jim, you and I were talking, he is not predictable as a human being, which makes him a little tricky out there on the pitching run.
Well, David has really matured as a person as well as a player, but when you look in his eyes and talk to him, he has a little bit of that. You know, they say left-handers are a little off now. He has a little, there's a little uncertainty, and that's what makes him an outstanding pitcher.
He has made the most out of free agency and contracts expiring. Now, hired gun, and a good one at that. Toronto, Kansas City, Toronto, now Game 5 after, of course, being with the New York Mets and appearing series, championship series against the Dodgers. Lashed foul down that line.
Look out. And that shot of his eyes, I mean, he is the kind of guy, and he's so savvy with the media, very sharp, that he could walk up to you with that kind of a look and just say, I'm going to hit you right in the ribs. You know, and you'd say, no. And then all of a sudden, I mean, he doesn't have that look, but he has that toughness.
2-2 now. Breaking ball fouled away.
It's exactly what Tino Martinez said. I said, what makes David Cone tough? He said, that slider, he'll break it in on my hands, and all I can do is pull it foul, and then he'll backdoor it. He'll throw it on the outside corner or throw the splitter out there.
3 strikeouts so far. Last toward the gap in left center field. It's got it. It's off the wall now. And Tino takes the turn, and he'll pull up with a double.
That is some kind of hitting in a 2-strike situation. Really covers the plate, as so many of the Mariner hitters do. Pitch is in a good spot, and Martinez goes down and gets it and drives it with some authority.
I think Cone was shocked because it was such a good pitch. Now Jay Buhner, they struck him out. He has fanned 3 so far. 1 out with Tino away from second, and now steps away to make sure he does not take off that extra step. Ball arrives in fielder's hands quickly on this carpet. If you can keep somebody just a step closer, you give an outfielder a chance to cut him down at home plate. All the little things now important. Did he go? Did not.
Dan Morrison, the first base umpire, talked about more hitters being low ball hitters. Jay Buhner's a good example. Why are they? You see him carry that bat straight up and down. Hitters use lighter bats, and it's easier to drop the barrel on a low pitch from that position.
As Yankee fans are certainly aware, I guess in Toronto and Kansas City and Met fans are aware too. Cone will walk quite a few hitters, and so far here in this Game 5, he hasn't walked anybody, but he's behind in the count. 2 balls and no strikes now. And it gets away to the backstop, and the Mariners have the tying run 90 feet away.
Says play the infield back, but David Cone is pitching Buhner almost like an intentional walk. With the bottom of the order coming up, he doesn't want to give him anything to drive, trying to protect that 1-run lead.
Now let's see what he elects to do here with 3 balls and no strikes on Buhner. 1 out.
That's some respect. Looked like a 3-0 breaking ball.
It's like a character out of a Dostoevsky novel. Jay Buhner walking down a street in Kiev. Lashes one, base hit. This game is tied.
With that strength, the ball down in his zone, shatters his bat, and still gets enough on it. Like Blowers, a lot of hits, a lot of RBIs per hit. 123 hits during the year and 121 ribbies for Buhner.
So the broken bat Buhner single ties the score at 2. Bottom of the 4th inning. This decisive game 5. Winner moves on to take on Cleveland. American League Championship. Luis Soho, as the throw goes over to Mattingly at first base. Good looking pitch.
Lou Piniella, like the Mariners, is so loose before the game. He said, hey, we've had a great year. You know, if we lose, I got a lot of golf shorts packed away. I'll go play some golf. And he's going to gamble a little more. Soho looking right now for the sign. You could expect a hit and run with Soho in the batter's box. Of course, in a hit and run, the runner's not trying to get a quick jump off first, so not as apt to get picked off in a hit and run situation.
His turn. Line drive, right at Velarde at second, but Buhner alertly did not stray too far. 2 out now. Danny Wilson up.
You're looking at Buhner there, Brent. You talked about his figure, his persona. They had Buhner haircut here in Seattle. It drew quite a crowd. He takes that helmet off, completely bald. Talking with Mattingly, because of course he is a former Yankee.
Danny Wilson now with 2 out and Buhner away from first. The one thing that a base runner for the Mariners has to be extremely aware of is with that biting slider. If it gets away again, you must alertly move with it. But you've got to be careful that Stanley doesn't make a stop, and he's got a shot at it.
Looking for a sign. He's going to get the hit sign. One of the things Dan Wilson is known as good catcher, has improved his hitting.
And now 3-0 with 2 out and Buhner on at first. This would allow the Mariners to put their 9-hitter up here at the bottom of this inning. And then if he can't do anything, they'd move right away to the top. So they would dearly love to get Wilson on base here. And Cone dearly wants to do otherwise. Sunflower seeds continue to disappear in the Yankee dugout. 3-1 now with 2 out. Line drive, base hit in front of Bernie Williams. Buhner will move to second.
That's the improved stroke of Dan Wilson, 278 this year with 9 ribbies. A lot of help from Lou Piniella and Lee Elia. These Mariner hitters use the whole field so well, and they're hitting some pretty good pitches.
Now Buhner leading away from second. There are 2 out. We're at the bottom of the 4th. Yankees 2, Mariners 2. And Flowers getting ready to stand in. Randy Johnson far left in the Mariner dugout. Game face on in case they need him late. Good looking breaking ball right there.
You saw the graphic. Flowers 0 for 13. That's a reason. Not many right-handers can get that breaking ball.
The Mariners are very adept at stealing sides. Stanley, Cone, and the Yankees are also aware of it. Outside and low.
That kind of day.
Has been that kind of month in Seattle and also back in New York. Both of these teams pounded down the stretch, worked hard to get into the playoffs. Beautiful fastball.
Yeah, pitch counts and how do you feel go out the window today. Everybody's available. David Cone averages more innings per start than any pitcher in the major league, so you can depend on him for at least 7.
Well, they didn't work long last year. They should have a lot left this fall.
And a short season this year.
1-2 with 2 out. Flowers ready. Buhner away from second.
Once a decade, you hope that works.
Flowers at that 1-2. Game 5 deadline. On the ground, but at Fernandez here. Take it alone for the 3rd out. But the Mariners score once through 4. It's 2-2. With Jim Cott and Jack Arute, I'm Brent Musburger. Welcome you to Game 5. Winner moves on to the American League Championship Series against the Cleveland Indians. Stage is set in the National League. They go into Cincinnati, the Atlanta Braves, and the Cincinnati Reds. And everybody with the same sentiments in New York and Seattle. Bring on the Indians. You're going to get them, one of you, and they're going to be tough. They've had a great, great season. Dion James now stands in against Andy Bennis.
Are loving this. They'd like to see this go about 15 innings. They have their pitchers well rested. Dennis Martinez, the Bulldog, Oral Hershiser, and Charles Nagy. They're all ready to go.
Slaps one. Tino Martinez with the putout.
Number 20, Mike Stanley.
Mike Stanley, 1 for 1. If this is the first time that you have been able to watch any of the Yankees and the Mariners, this is absolutely the quietest it has ever been in the Kingdome since about 5:05 Friday night. Everybody just sitting and waiting. Ground ball to third. Flowers. 2 out.
Shortstop, number 6, Fernandez.
18th time these two teams have met this year. And the Mariners have handled them during the regular season. As you see, Blowers handle that play easily. The Mariners are 7-1 here in the Kingdome.
Yeah, it has not been a pleasant summer and fall on the left coast for the New York Yankees. Fernandez takes a strike. A horrendous 8-game losing streak came to an end here in the Kingdome. Toward the gap in right center field. Fernandez on a run. He's got it between Griffey and Buhner. Griffey will run it down, and Fernandez into second with a double.
That quieted this Kingdome crowd down as Tony Fernandez takes it right off the shoe tops. I don't think Jay Buhner tracked this ball well. He ran a little bit of a flag pattern. And Ken Griffey Jr., you see him looking at Buhner, waiting to see if he could catch it. Makes a nice bare hand grab and gets it into the infield in a hurry. Just out of Buhner's reach.
Not sure that even if Buhner did reach it, that he would have been able to stop Fernandez from going to second base. It was pretty well hit into the gap in right center field here in the Kingdome. At any rate, Fernandez on at second now with the 2-out double, and it's Randy Velarde. Hit in the air, drifting over toward the Yankee dugout. Wilson's got it. Yankee left at second. Still tied at 2. Well, there's a lot of talk and controversy about a new stadium out here in Seattle. Back on July 19th of 1994, some acoustical tiles fell. Al Ripken at the time was right underneath the seats doing a radio interview. And then unfortunately, tragically, a couple of gentlemen died working when they repaired the roof of the Kingdome. And Jack Aru, what's the latest on the possibility of a new stadium here?
Well, Brent, the Mariners have actually said that it's October 30th is the deadline for a decision, and there's two major decisions that have to be made this week. A secret finance plan for the $285 million, $45 million of which the Mariners said they will put up for a retractable dome stadium, is supposed to be released to the legislature on Wednesday. If it isn't killed outright, then the governor says he'll call a special session on Thursday. But they got to know by October 30th.
Well, if you build it, we will come. And one other thing, folks, if you feel the winning team, we'll come wherever you play.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Vince Coleman now stands in here to lead off the bottom of the 5th inning. Deadlocked at 2 for the Yankees. 2 runs on 3 hits. And for the Mariners, 2 runs on 6 hits. Coleman has not yet been on base. Resurrecting his career here with the Mariners. Check swing, but right to Fernandez. Well, here is Joey Cora, and let's turn you back now to the bottom of the 3rd inning. It was scoreless, and Joey Cora, who homered 3 times during the regular season, put the Mariners on the board first. Then Paul O'Neill regained the lead for the Yankees. The Mariners have now tied it. We are in the bottom of the 5th inning. 1 out and Cora back up.
Doesn't want to walk, and he hasn't walked any yet.
Got the call there. That's the first low strike that has been turned in here in this game. One on Cora. Popped it up. Mattingly. Velarde. So this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Office of the Commissioner. First two hitters are out, and Ken Griffey, who has yet to bat in this game with anybody on base, comes back in. He's 0 for 2. Yes.
True to David Cohn's pitching style, all fly balls and strikeouts, no groundouts.
Interesting to watch an outstanding pitcher, the way he moves the ball around, up and out and low, down by the knees, on the inside corner, then to the outside corner. Hard to pick up a pattern.
And they've tried to find a pattern on Griffey and Martinez. See Cohn shrugging his shoulders out there like he's a little stiff. That move back across the inside edge. It's cool in here. So Lou Piniella mentioned the other night when he removed Randy Johnson after a long Mariner inning is that you tend to stiffen up a little bit in the with the air conditioning. You saw David Cohn trying to make sure he stayed low. He's loose, Lou Piniella, and he'd be available for 1 inning if necessary today.
1-2. Him out. Out in order through 5. Yankees 2, Mariners 2. Here it is. The Yankees and the Mariners are tied at 2 apiece. And the top of the lineup, Wade Boggs will lead it off here in the 6th inning. Yesterday belonged to the hitters, and today a good old-fashioned pitchers duel between Andy Bennis and David Cohn.
Key inning for Bennis and the Yankees for that matter, because when Boggs moved into the leadoff spot on August 4th and Bernie Williams into the 2-hole, they both hit about 360 from that point on.
At the knees.
That is what really has set up the Yankee offense.
There's the signal.
Most baseball fans that have followed Boggs knows he is as dangerous with 2 strikes as any hitter in baseball. Yesterday, that would have got you kicked out of the game after the first inning warning.
Now all it does is get your attention. 2-2. Yes, beautiful pitch from Bennis. Boggs is frozen. He has struck Boggs out twice. Now Bernie Williams, and the Mariners bring a lot of respect into this game for Bernie, but watch this beautiful placement by Bennis.
After the first inning strikeout with the fastball, Bennis gets him on the backdoor slider right on the outside corner.
Magnificent series and a great future with the Yankees.
Career highs this year, 18 home runs and 82 RBIs during the season. And you have center fielders like Ken Griffey Jr., Kenny Lofton, who will be in the championship series, Devon White. Tough to get a lot of recognition, but Bernie Williams is a good one.
A walk to Williams set up Bennis's problem against O'Neill the last time, and now Bernie again ahead in the count. It's 2-1.
Yesterday was a freewheeling day for the crowd, for the Mariner lineup, and now that it's gone to a Game 5, it's like the fans are saying, hey, maybe we can win this thing. They're a lot quieter today, anticipating.
Three and one. High. And Williams again walks, which sets the table for Paul O'Neill, who has slammed 3 home runs against the Mariners in this series so far, including this one in the top of the 4th inning, which put the Yankees ahead 2-1. Bottom of the inning, the Mariners tied it up, and that's where we are again. 1 out. Williams again perched on at first base. Then here comes the rematch. Much lower than the home run pitch, wasn't it?
Paul O'Neill hits into more double plays than any hitter in the American League, but as you mentioned, Andy Bennis got his first double play grounder as a Mariner this game. He didn't throw a lot of ground balls.
There are a lot of organizations paying very close attention to Andy Bennis as a free agent. Come up big in a very meaningful game, the scouts pay attention, and he has shown a lot of poise out there so far.
Gone from the aggressive style the first 5 innings to a little defensive now, as we've seen David Cone in a couple of situations. When you realize one bad pitch can cost you the ball game. Bobby Cuellar, who's done a nice job as the Mariner pitching coach, probably just a trip to encourage Bennis to go back to what he was doing the first few innings. Hey, throw strikes. You were successful getting ahead. You mentioned Bennis and such an important start for him. He's accustomed to tight games coming from the Padres. He didn't get a lot of run support. The Mariners usually score about 7 for him.
He's also accustomed to quiet crowds.
You can see on the graphic why Bernie Williams is not an excellent base stealer.
It's 2 balls and no strikes. 1 out. Williams is on at first. And it's 3-0.
And I think he'll have the green light, Paul O'Neill. And some hitters, if you give them the green light on 3, they have a tendency to overswing. O'Neill's not apt to do that. And he's walking out of the box right now, I think, to think about a zone that he would like to see a fastball in. And Buck Showalter will turn him loose.
Two on, back-to-back walks. Williams and O'Neill, and here comes Ruben Sierra, who is way overdue to do something for the Bombers. Huge double in the 12th inning of that 15-inning classic back in the Bronx, but rather quiet since then. And Cuellar on the phone. There's activity in Pinella's bullpen down the left field line. They will not wait.
That's the pitcher he got that key double. Tim Belcher. Norm Charlton would be available. thing the Yankees have not done since Game 1 when Sierra hit the 2-run homer is produce with men in scoring position.
One strike, one out, tie game. Designated hitter Ruben Sierra of the New York Yankees. And he asked for time.
Game 1, 500, 5 for 10. But since that, look, the Yankees just 4 for 25. Discussion right now with Wilson and Bennis, and American League scouts and players have followed Ruben Sierra. He is a one-zone hitter. I mean, if you can keep it on the outside corner, he has a lot of trouble reaching it. But with that high leg kick, he's very dangerous. Anything on the inside 2/3.
Bennis in the stadium. After Sierra homered, it was Mattingly, then the garbage, then Piniella pulled the team, and a change of pitchers. Now Bennis looks at it here. 1-1 and 1 out. 2 Yankees on. Game is tied. Even though his record 7-2 as a Mariner, his earned run average the highest in American League history for a pitcher. 5 games over 500, almost 6. It's 3-1 from Bennis to Sierra. 2 Yankees on, and the score is tied. And the bases are loaded on 3 walks, and Lou Piniella now with a decision to make.
Yankees have 7 left-hand hitters in the lineup, and the one thing Lou Piniella wishes he had was another left-hand pitcher. He's instructing his infielders right now. Hey, if it's hit hard, take 2 the conventional way. If it's not, come home. But Norm Charlton wouldn't be available till inning 7 or 8. So the Yankees with those left-hand bats have an edge.
So it builds to one of those early climaxes. The captain, Don Mattingly, with the bases loaded in. 1 out here. Slaps one into left field, down into that corner. It's fair. The Yankees will score. It's a ground rule double. Yankees lead it by 2. Don Mattingly's ground rule double to left field scores Williams and O'Neill, and the Yankees jump up 4-2.
Nothing could be more fitting for Yankee fans. Their captain, who was bashed all season long for an unproductive bat, gets exactly what he's known for, a double. Only Lou Gehrig has more in Yankee history. And off that high turf, a ground rule double that probably prevented Sierra from scoring. That bounces off the left field fence. Sierra would have been able to score on that.
Deion James will be intentionally walked to reload the bases. Mike Stanley is due up, and you would have to think that Piniella is giving strong consideration to bringing Belcher on to face the right-hander, but let's see.
Well, because you mentioned Bennis only has 1 double play grounder in the time he's been with the Mariners, and that's what the Mariners are looking for, so you would anticipate Belcher coming in to try to get the ground ball. Mike Stanley comes up, Brent, there are very few hitters in baseball that have had the production with the bases loaded like Mike Stanley.
Yankees 4, Mariners 2. The top of the 6th inning, 1 out at the moment. George, very happy with how things are unfolding right now. Mike Stanley batted 18 times. Jimmy, you mentioned this. Came to the plate 18 times. The bases loaded during the regular season for New Yorkers. And he was 9 for 11. That's 818. He hit 2 grand slam home runs. And he walked 4 times.
Gerald Williams going in to run for Deion James.
He'll go out to left field. And Lou Piniella, who is a bit of a riverboat gambler, has decided to stick with Bennis. Good fastball.
I think Pinella's thinking is Bennis has a better chance of striking out Stanley than Belcher. Not as much looking for the double play as the strikeout.
High in the air, drifting foul ground down the right field line and into the seats, away from Buhner, who was giving chase. The ball's in 2 strikes. Sierra's the runner at third. Mattingly with his 2-run doubles at second. Gerald Williams, the pinch runner at first. 0-2 the count.
Another trademark of this Yankee lineup and their hitting coach Rick Down. They do not chase a lot of pitches. Very disciplined up and down the lineup, as you saw Stanley lay off those 2 borderline pitches and take a deep breath. Wilson sets the target. Ground ball foul. Sierra steps off third. Mattingly ground to a double away from second. Independent. Watching. Hit high in the air behind home plate. Wilson drifting back. Has a play on it. Huge as Bennis gets the fastball up. Borderline pitch. You can't afford to take that at 3-2 if you're Mike Stanley. Not a lot of room back there, but enough room for Dan Wilson. Big Mariner out.
Fernandez. Two out now. Fernandez will attempt to keep it in play, just slap it somehow. He has most RBIs in postseason. other than 3 fellas. Can you name them? Think about it for just a minute now. Who would have had more postseason RBIs? Yankee fans have got one. Bucky Dent, Bill Russell of the Dodgers, Pee Wee Reese of the Dodgers. The other 2, Fernandez with 13 and trying to get more right now. 2 balls and no strikes.
Interesting choice here if you're Tony Fernandez, and he's an experienced enough hitter to make up his own mind. Bennis is struggling. He's thinking, do I make him throw a strike or guess fastball and take a rip at it?
Hits it high toward the seats and out of play.
This is when the 6th inning becomes the 9th inning for Andy Bennis. And out here, Mariners have a chance. A hit, David Cone would be tough to beat.
2 balls and 1 strike. Yankees with the bases loaded and a 2-run lead here at the top of the 6th inning. Low. Welcome back to the Kingdome in Seattle. It's 4-2 the Yankees leading the Mariners right now with Jim Cott. I'm Brett Musburger. Jim, at the top of our broadcast, we talked about the heart of the matter. Yep. The heart of those 2 batting lineups. Right now the Yankees have the advantage.
O'Neill and Mattingly, 2 RBIs apiece. So the heart of the Yankee order has done their job. And it's the heart right now for the Mariners. David Cone knows that. Key inning for him, just like it was for Bennis in the top of this inning.
And Edgar Martinez leading off. 1 for 2. 7 RBIs yesterday. A 2-run lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Tino Martinez, who's up next with a pair of base hits off Cone so far. Good looking breaking ball.
Saw that sign, Edgar. And like Reggie Jackson knows when he played in New York, that's what the Mariner fans, because there are 2 Martinez, chanted on the way out of the Kingdome last night. Boggs and Martinez, 2 of the best hitters in baseball. And what Boggs really admires is Martinez's ability to recognize pitches. Even though Cone has an outstanding slider, Martinez can recognize it, wait on it, and hit it.
1-2. Hit hard down the line in left field. Edgar Martinez will take the turn and head for second. It's underneath the bench. Quickly, the umpire goes out. It had ricocheted out, so it was still a play. Nevertheless, it's a double. Joe Brinkman all over it.
First baseman, Tino.
Nobody has been able to figure out a way to get this guy out. There again is the breaking ball. He went down and got it. 11th hit in the series. Tops of anyone. There's that area you referred to, Brent. Brinkman made sure it did not go underneath the bench.
And it did not, even though the outfielder was immediately putting up his hand, asking for it to be out of play, which is what a smart outfielder will do in any situation, trying to put the burden on the umpire. But Brinkman was all over. It didn't matter anyway, because Edgar Martinez wasn't going any further than second base. But Cone now must face his nemesis, Tino Martinez, with the Mariner on at second, and the crowd is about ready to wake up in Seattle. First pitch strike. Save a lot of pitching careers, won't it?
And get a lot of hitters out. That's strike one.
Popped up behind the plate. Stanley can't get it. It's back into the crowd.
More than any pitcher in the major leagues. He can average 7 2/3 innings.
Sixth with a 2-1 lead. Throw back, and it was to the left of the bag. Fernandez, even if he had beaten him, would not have had a chance to apply the tag.
But Showalter hoping that all that practice and spring training and all the pickoff plays would pay off in this kind of a situation. What a blow that would be to the Mariners.
Almost hit him.
That's why Tino Martinez has had these 2 good at-bats and 2 hits against David Cone. He tries to get him to chase the breaking ball down and in. Nice block by Stanley to get over there. Just missed his back leg. And then he's gone back outside, but Tino's been covering the plate.
Tino didn't want to take one for the team in the foot.
No. Wants to hit.
1-2 now. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. He helped him that time, and foul ball into the ground. Evans with the call immediately.
That's going to bring Buck Showalter out of the dugout. Just to get an explanation, you mentioned, Brent, that Jim Evans has been in the center of a couple of controversial calls. You sure about that? See if we can read those lips. Evans say, yeah, hit the ground and popped up in the glove. He didn't catch it cleanly. Got him on his feet.
We've got the tapes.
Yeah, clearly hit the dirt first.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Edgar Martinez away from second, and Tino asks for a little time. Not automatic when a hitter turns around and asks for time, but in most situations the umpire will give it to a hitter. 2-2 now. Cone looks in at Stanley. Did he go? Got him out finally. So this Division Series game is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. The employees of Trans World Airlines, we're up to something good. And Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me.
Finally gets Martinez. Cone does on that sharp biting slider that he cannot check his swing on.
One out, and here's Buhner.
Boy, every hitter will tell you when they get back to the bench, each at bat you get one hittable pitch. Jay Buhner's walking around right now saying, I got mine and I fouled it straight back. Right down the chute, just missed it. Probably won't see another one in that zone.
Not the way David Cohn's been moving his pitches around. Rode it past him that time.
Cohn's pitch count well over 100. He doesn't care. He'll lay it all out there today, but if it comes down to a battle of bullpens, big plus for the Yankees.
Only folks counting living back in Cleveland. 0-2 and 1 now. That was a good looking pitch, and he got it. He went too far. First base umpire Danny Morrison punches him out.
Check swings have been very important.
Here is the definitive view, and as you can see, Morrison was all over it. What'd you think?
Well, the umpire looks at, did he intend? Was the intent there to swing? And it appeared from that angle that Buhner held up. That is probably as tough a call as a base umpire has to make. There's the Jay Buhner haircut that they love here in Seattle. I mentioned the bullpens, Brent, and the reason the Yankees have a big plus. Wetland is fresh. Wickman, McDowell, if necessary, and Pettit. But on the Mariners side, not the same situation. There's the Yankee bullpen is Nardi Contreras. Bob Wickman seated there. Nardi Contreras walking out to the mound right now just to give Cone a little breather. Norm Charlton, as Lou Piniella said, is pitching on fumes. They would only use Randy Johnson if they had the lead, and Jeff Nelson, with 4 great innings yesterday, really enabled the Mariners to win the game.
Jimmy, let me remind everybody, well, we got a moment as we look at Charlton down there about Monday Night Football. This could be a good game. The Chargers are in Kansas City to play the Chiefs. That's 9 Eastern time, and by my unofficial count, there were 4 overtime games in the National Football League today. The Eagles with a win, Minnesota with a victory, Indianapolis coming back on Miami after being down, and the Giants. So this could be a huge day for the tri-state metropolitan area back in New York. The Yankees can follow it up now.
That's the Deacon, Warren Newson, pinch hitting for the Mariners.
This has been an outstanding pinch hitting team this year. And Cone immediately jumps ahead of Warren.
Newson with the White Sox in '93. He's got some postseason experience. Teammate of Jack McDowell.
Two out. Edgar Martinez on at second base. Gave him the inside corner that time.
He's painting with power right now. Breaking ball on the outside edge, and a blazer on the inside corner. Moved just across the edge of the plate.
He has jumped ahead 0-2. Nice pickup by Stanley on the short high. Martinez holds at second. David Cone is dictating now. A 2-run lead through 6. Back with more after this from our ABC stations. Well, there's a summary of what we have had so far here, with David Cone ahead by a pair of runs. Cora and O'Neill with home runs. Dennis still in the game. And we have a Don Mattingly 2-run double. And you can see that the Mariners have been quiet considerably here with a change at shortstop. Soho was taken out for the pinch hitter, and a former Indian, Felix Fermain, has moved in at shortstop here for the Mariners.
Mariner fans had the banners out, welcome home Omar, if the Mariners would play the Indians. Of course, Fermain was traded for the Gold Glove shortstop Omar Vizquel. This probably be a one-batter inning for Bennis. All the lefties coming up. Charlton getting ready in the bullpen. You mentioned a while ago, Brent, what strike one can do for you, and that's what Bennis did the first few innings. But since then, he has fallen behind, and he's paid for it.
It's 2-1 right there. This is a crowd which obviously is accustomed to cheering for Randy Johnson. I mean, on 2 strikes, it's been the only time that they have risen to the 5th game occasion today. 3-2 now. Yes, sir.
And ironic that they stand with 2 strikes, because that started in the late 70s when a Yankee would get 2 strikes on a hitter. Ron Guidry painted the outside corner with the fastball, and Pinella's going to stay with him.
He's done a good job against Boggs, striking him out twice here today. It's the next hitter that he has really struggled with. What's interesting about Boggs, you were talking about his bat control, everyone very well aware of how difficult he is to strike out. In fact, he struck out 3 times in a game only once in the last 5 years, and that was back in August of 1993. Count 1-1. Quickly over is Bennett, who alertly was able to get over and cover on the play. May have been stepped on, but now it's time for tonight's Toyota Diamond Dust Baseball Fact. Yankee Stadium has hosted 100 postseason games. That's an all-time high. Which stadium now has hosted the 2nd most games during postseason play? I'm going to give you a hint. I think you need one on this, folks. John McGraw would have had the answer to this one. And we will give you the answer in the next inning. And now here comes the hitter who has set the table in this decisive game 5 with 2 walks. He has scored twice. Bennis has gotten 2 fine with Bernie Williams.
Big difference in the game. Yankees only have 4 hits. Cone has given up 7, but he hasn't walked anyone. It's been the walks that have hurt Andy Bennis.
Lead. What's interesting about Cone dictating now, and I don't have to remind Yankee fans of John Wetland's record here in the Kingdome, not only in the regular season but also yesterday. I suppose if there's any second guess you want to offer up for Showalter's managing yesterday, it'll be the fact that he yanked Wickham and went to Wetland in the first place. But that doesn't tell us what might have happened if he hadn't changed pitchers, does it? I think it's a legitimate second guess to question As long as you say, but we're not sure that they wouldn't have hit the other fella either. As long as you do that, it's okay to talk about it. It's 2 balls and 1 strike now.
And he has been the ace out of that pen all year. You have to have confidence in him getting any hitter out. But he's not been able to get Griffey out.
2-1 and 2 now.
Well, we're a pitch away from having, for the 4th time, a confrontation between 2 Cincinnati teammates, Charlton and O'Neill.
Patience has been a virtue for Bernie Williams of the Yankees. The 3rd time that he has walked. And that will be the end of the workday for Andy Bennis. Norm Charlton strolling in. We'll be right back. So the confrontation again between Charlton and O'Neill, and it has been one of the duels that could wind up deciding this championship series. Back in the stadium, the 15-inning classic, O'Neill rode one out. It was the only bad pitch that Charlton would make that night, and it denied the Mariners a win. But back here in the Kingdome, it was Charlton this time, and the Mariners stayed alive. And now they come back to Game 5, but the Yankees are up by 2 big runs.
Be interesting to see if Norm Charlton can control his forkball. I mean, what a pickup he has been middle of July for the Mariners. Didn't get a chance to work as many innings with the Phillies. That's what he's done in the division series. But yesterday, a lot of those forkballs in the dirt. The arm was tight. Lou Piniella has extended him a lot, looking for just a couple of more outs from him.
Well, Andy Bennis, the starter who left, had a very good fastball as Randy Johnson has moved down to take a seat. Bennis giving up 4 hits, but there were 6 walks, one of them intentional. And now Charlton will attempt to hold the line with Paul O'Neill trying to get even more. He homered earlier for the Yankees. Bennis done for the day. Very low, and those of you who were with us yesterday remember the problems that Wilson had behind the plate. One of them finally getting away, and for a brief moment the Yankees tied the game, as Charlton was obviously a tired pitcher yesterday. In the air to left field, Coleman camps under it. Charlton does his job, but the Yankees lead it.
Yankees lead it by 2, bottom of the 7th. Mattingly and O'Neill have provided the offense, but this guy with 109 pitches, and here's 3 of his best. The slider to Tino Martinez for a strikeout. The splitter to Buhner. And Newsom can't catch the forkball. The stuff is still there. The Yankees hope it can last for 3 more innings.
So he has fanned his last 3 hitters after Edgar Martinez doubled. He has knocked down 4 of the last 5. He has given up 5 hits, striking out 7, and I think most impressively is that 0 under BB. When David Cone does not walk anybody, look out.
That's when he became a Cy Young Award winner. He cut down on the base on balls. Charlton will stay in. The Yankees have left-hand bats coming up the next inning.
Bottom of the 7th and bottom of the order. Dan Wilson and Mike Blowers will start it off, and then it is Vince Coleman. What a difference a pitcher makes. Keeping the Seattle throng at bay.
You can go back to the beginning of when Abner invented this game, and there's two areas you try to pitch hitters: low and away, high and tight. And that's what Cone's doing.
They are simply nervous rather than noisy in Seattle now. It's a ball and 2 strikes. And the hired gun is dictating. Now let's give you the answer to the Toyota Diamond Dust question. Which stadium has hosted the second most games during postseason play? I knew you New Yorkers would get this. I knew once I gave you that huge tip. That's a trick one. That one is. You know how many baseball fans, young fans right now, what's that?
Where's the Polo Grounds?
Where's that
They play baseball at the Polo Grounds.
That's for the Giants. Once played before Walter O'Malley convinced Horace Stone to go west. Young man, go west. And the face of baseball has never been quite the same since. And now Mike Blowers stepping in here.
Remember when I was a kid and I followed the Braves and Warren Spahn, and later got to meet him and heard guys talk about how he could finish a game off when he had a lead in the 7th. And Buck Showalter will not go to the bullpen unless he absolutely has to. And you can see Cone has almost kicked it into another gear.
Another pitcher who I thought could finish was Bob Gibson.
Yeah,
I thought Gibson come to get you with a 1-run lead. It did not matter.
It's the first sidearm hook we've seen him throw today.
Feeling real confident when he tries that right here. The 5th game with the Yankees hoping to move on to Cleveland and open up on Tuesday night against the Indians, with the Braves and the Reds ready to go out in the National League. And how excited is the state of Ohio right now? The Buckeyes, one of the best in college football. Reds are in the oh mercy, it's a wealth of riches back in Ohio this weekend. But Buckeye fans, just a little warning, you don't have to be warned. You've got to go to Madison next week. It's never easy, is it, for the Buckeyes when they go to Madison. Here's a former football player, Vince Coleman, back with the training camp in the National Football League as a punter. Didn't make it with the Washington Redskins, St. Louis Cardinals, among others, are forever happy. Slashed right at Mattingly. So now the Mariners are down to only 2 at-bats. It's 4-2 Yankees. So the Yankees closing in on perhaps another trip. American League Championship Series in their first in a long, long time. It has been a drought for Yankee fans over this last decade. Judging from the crowds back in the Bronx for the first 2 games of this series, those folks are ready. Fouled away by Ruben Sierra, who came to the Yankees from Oakland and has absolutely embraced the Puerto Rican community. Trying to do some more damage here to Charlton. It's Charlton who rides it past him.
First baseman Don Mattingly.
Looks like some pretty good gas when you're pitching on fumes. He threw it right by Sierra. That high leg kick, very vulnerable to that pitch.
Mattingly.
Two left-hand hitters have taken Charlton out of the yard this year. They're both Yankees, Mattingly and O'Neill.
Very much away. The heart of the Mariner order is due up. Could be their best opportunity left in the bottom of the 8th if Charlton can clear the Yankees out.
Yankees have a lot of conversations with him in that batter's box.
The only friend you've got is yourself.
Stay back, keep the shoulder in. It's made Charlton so tough on lefties. Not many pitchers get their forkball to break down and away. He can do that, the left-hand hitters.
Which will it be? Donnie baseball, or Donnie strikeout, or neither? Into left, and Coleman. That's where Mattingly put his huge ground rule double over there. And the winner of this game will take on the Cleveland Indians in the American League Championship Series. And a reminder that the postseason heats up. We begin coverage of the American and National League Championship Series. We'll have regional coverage Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ABC. Gerald Williams replaced Deion James. You know, we mentioned Gerald Williams having played out of Grambling State. And again, congratulations to Eddie Robinson. He has a few minutes. I hope he's able to enjoy watching a little baseball. 400 victories down there. It's just a record that when you think about that any coach can win that many games, I mean, it is monumental. Never in my lifetime did I think anybody would reach that figure. 2-1. Irish ball.
Seems like yesterday again.
It's full. And Williams on with a walk. Bringing up Yankee catcher Mike Stanley. One of the things not to be overlooked in this championship series as we watch Stanley step in is that the other night back in the Bronx, Jimmy Leyritz, who had that dramatic home run, also worked 15 innings behind home plate. When you're a catcher and you're involved in this many games in the postseason, it is nice to have a night off, and that could help energize somebody like Mike Stanley. When you've got a quality backup like Jimmy Leyritz, as Williams leads off first now. Ground ball to short. Fernandez up with it to first and second. Cora. And folks, here it comes. The heart of the matter, due up in Seattle. Here is the MCI proof positive replay, not of this game, but of the series. A very unusual play. Many of us have seen this go the other way with Tony Fernandez, but with Edgar Martinez on at third, Fernandez saves a base hit. Nobody's on at first. Randy Velarde came toward him. He flipped the ball to him. Velarde froze Martinez and retired Mike Flowers. The MCI proof positive replay of this series. And there have been some moments to savor in this 5-game showdown. And here comes another one. Joey Cora with an unlikely home run against David Cone to lead it off. And then we'll move to Ken Griffey and Edgar Martinez with the big unit starting to get loose.
If they score, and that is not unusual for the Mariners to do that in their last at bat. Boy, have they been something against the Yankees. They've beaten them 11 times. 5 in the last at bat.
David Cone. And Lou Piniella is at it again. One of the reasons why he has Johnson up is to get this crowd very much back into the thick of things. As soon as they saw the big unit get up, they rose as one. And now David Cone has slipped behind Cora. Showtime in Seattle. Must respect the drag bunt. It has to go through Mattingly's mind because of yesterday. Drill foul.
It looked like Cora's got his mind on drag bunting today. He's going long ball.
And again, Ken Griffey must come to the plate as he has all day long without anybody on.
That's what Cone has done such a good job of. Cora took him out of the yard, but Coleman and Cora have hit the ball in the air in every at bat, and that's the key to getting them out.
A strikeout victim in his last at bat. Cone will break the concentration a little bit.
Sweaty palm kind of day. Bobby Cuellar checking with his pitchers on the Mariner bench.
We got to have a word with Charlton to tell him what the situation would be. The ninth inning. Deep to right field. Oh baby, put it on the scoreboard. The kid has done it again. The fifth home run of this series for Griffey. It ties the record for the most in any postseason series with this man, Mr. October, in the 1977 World Series. And if you're going to have someone tie you, it might as well be Griffey. Now Edgar Martinez stands in, suddenly representing the tying run.
Cone has given up 2 long balls, but the long ball won't beat you like the base-on ball. That's why the Yankees have the lead.
Ground ball up the middle. Fernandez over quickly. Snap through, and he's got him. 2 out now, and Tino Martinez coming up.
First baseman, Tino Martinez.
Touched Cone up for a couple of hits today, a single and a double, but Cone won the last round, a strikeout. The next hitter, Jay Buhner, he has fanned twice and given a single to him. outside corner, not to his liking, as Cone kept the ball away from him. Didn't want him to pull anything on him, and now it's 3-1 and 2 out. Tino is on. Now Jay Buhner steps up as the lead runner. Hoping not to have to use the bullpen.
Positioning Wade Boggs near the line, but the Yankees aren't as worried about that double down the line with Buhner. It's the grand slam he hit off Cone in an earlier series. This is when the 8th inning becomes the 9th for David Cone.
And when you're an ex-Yankee, this is a moment you can only hope for. Is due up next because Newsom pinch hit for Soho. And Rivera getting up now. He has been dynamite in this series so far.
That's why this is like the last out of the game, because Piniella has no more long ball threats on the bench.
Strike this time from Morrison. 1-1 on the check swings here.
And David Cone is aware of who Piniella has on the bench, as you see Buhner try to hold up, and I think that's why he is going to make him hit a breaking ball. Diaz is over there. He has speed and Amaral, but not power.
Two balls and one strike. Flash, base hit. And Tino Martinez will hold at second. And now the Mariners will look for an unlikely hero.
Probably be Doug Strange, another switch hitter off the bench. Left-hander. Like Diaz, he's going to go with Diaz, and Alex Diaz was the player that filled in so well for Ken Griffey Jr. when he was hurt.
And that means that carrying a third shortstop will eventually pay off for Lou Piniella. Alex Rodriguez over there in the dugout figures to get an inning in the field here in the ninth. And Lee Hillier over there at the bench. And Alex Diaz, who was born in Brooklyn, New York, will come up. But there'll be a confrontation, or a conversation, I should say. First out on the mound.
You know, athletes talk about how they look forward, and David Cone has addressed it. He said you want to be involved in these games, but you can't enjoy them till they're over. The same thing with Alex Diaz. Boy, you look forward to an opportunity to do something. Contreras is to say, how do you feel? And Cone is going to tell him, I feel great. I mean, there's no way he's going to ask out of this ball game. Pitch count well above whatever David usually goes.
I think it has to be very revealing for Yankee fans to see Mariano Rivera up and throwing in this situation after the failure of Wetland in the 8th inning yesterday. That could be sending a message to Yankee fans and also the Cleveland Indians. Now remember, the Yankees can adjust their roster following this series. They cannot make Rick Honeycutt active, but they can go back down and pick up one of their minor league pitchers if they want to make a change down there. And chances are they might, especially for that left-handed side. Now, Diaz steps in with 2 out. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Tino Martinez with the tying run on at second. Jay Buhner over at first base, and here's Diaz. Strike zone. Not all the heroes in postseason play are named, mantled, Some of the other greats who've come through for the New York Yankees, other teams. Never know. I'm like the fellow might pop up and then. Lou Piniella here with time called. Is he looking for a?
He's going to look for somebody to run. Looking up and down his bench. He can't find anybody.
Where is?
I need somebody with some speed.
Where's Alex Rodriguez?
Well, he's got Rich Amaral.
Where is Rodriguez? Where is the youngster? Come on.
Probably catching his breath in the clubhouse.
Get him out there and let him run.
Went in to get his running shoes out.
Also to find his glove. Then he down home. Said, hey, Mom, make sure you watch. I'm about to appear in a big moment. So here he is, #1 draft choice out of the Miami area. This is the shortstop of the future. Pencil him in that lineup. Next year in April, the Mariners are going to take a look at him. And now he'll carry their tying run in '95 with Alex Diaz, who filled in for Ken Griffey Jr. following that injury. Griffey missing about half a season. Rodriguez away from second. 2-0.
Note the Yankee outfield. Williams, and that could be a key position. Figure Diaz slaps the ball that way off the turf. And O'Neill with an accurate arm is rather deep in right. Not much chance for him to throw him out from that position.
This inning began with Cora flying out. Then Griffey slugged the home run that made it a one-run game. Then Edgar Martinez was retired on a ground ball. Back-to-back singles by Tino, Buhner, and the pinch hitter Diaz. Griffey watching from the Mariner bench. And it is 3-1 to Diaz.
Looking for warm bodies.
Dan Wilson is listed as the next hitter. Wilson has been used, but Doug Strange would be the only left-handed bat left over there in that dugout. Are loaded. That's the first walk of the game for David Cone.
That's where, even though the control has been great, a lot of strikeouts, a lot of pitches, that's typical of David Cone, and there's not quite the sharpness here in the 8th inning.
And now the pinch hitter. As again, Piniella goes for the left-handed hitter, and it'll be Doug Strange.
You can see that breaking ball, and it hung high. That's about the first one that's done that. Not much snap left in it.
Best.
Hit a pinch hit home run on Jeff Russell to win a game against the Rangers in September. That's a lot.
And Strange steps in on him. Mattingly and Velarde are deep on the right side. Yes, he went too far.
Gutsy call by Mike Stanley. Figure of pinch hitter coming off the bench, looking fastball, threw him the slider.
Rodriguez at third base.
hit a pinch hit home run off Jeff Russell to win a game against the Rangers in September. That's a lot.
And Strange steps in on him. Mattingly and Velarde are deep on the right side. Yes, he went too far.
Gutsy call by Mike Stanley. Figure of pinch hitter coming off the bench, looking fastball. Threw him the slider.
Rodriguez at third base. Bases loaded. 2 out, bottom of the 8th. Yankees up a run, 4-3. A tiring Cone trying to hang on.
He's spilling it all out there, but there's not much left to spill. If you're Doug Strange, you have to have the discipline to be able to say, if it's there, I'm going to swing at it, but it's not an automatic take.
Fernandez in for a word.
He's going to make sure with Sam Perlazo, Doug Strange. And I'm sure that's all that is hey, you know the zone you like it in. Have a good swing.
Will the Yankees gamble on the slider? 3-1 and 2 out. Right there, right down the middle, and Strange was taking. Strange forces in young Alex Rodriguez. Refused to lose in Seattle. And now the pitching change.
And they gambled with the split finger 3-2-2 out. Wow. And not close enough for Strange to offer at it. Saw Reggie Jackson on his feet. What a courageous effort by David Cone.
And what a moment for Mariano Rivera. This is all because of yesterday when the Mariners again ripped into Wetland.
Buck Showalter trying to hold Wetland off for the 9th inning, hoping to get just an out of Rivera. Mariano Rivera is a 25-year-old rookie from Panama.
And now the big unit gets serious.
This would be his normal day to throw between starts.
And Andy Pettit starts to loosen up. The Yankees have lost all confidence in Steve Howe, and if you're a Yankee fan, you don't need me to tell you why. Showalter gambling, and it has been an impressive Rivera so far in 2 appearances. You can see what he's done with 7 Ks.
Good line fastball. And all he's hoping for now is just to be able to throw some strikes. And how fitting he has to face a former Yankee, Mike Flowers. I mean, it's not only tough to throw strikes right now, it's tough to breathe. I talked to Don Mattingly yesterday about what effect this crowd can have on your ability to control your emotions.
Tied at 4. Mike Flowers against 23-year-old Rivera. First pitch strike. Flowers was taking a look all the way. He has shown some first-class heat so far in this series. Do the job here, and the Indians are going to be seeing Rivera in the next stop. And 2 and ahead with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th inning. Mariano Rivera. Jack McDowell watching. He's available if they need him. Right now that spot is taken. What a pitching job by Rivera. He justifies the confidence that Showalter pays in him, but the kid has done it again. The 9th inning is coming up, ladies and gentlemen. The 9th inning of a tied Game 5 with the New York Yankees coming to the plate here at the top of the 9th inning. And defensively, you see that Flowers has moved across the infield to first. Strange goes to third, and Rodriguez is behind at shortstop. He is the youngest man to play in postseason competition since Claudel Washington. He turned 20 years old in July. And then behind the plate, Chris Widger steps in into a tough spot. Hit deep, deep toward the gap. That ball is out of here. Off that top wall. Hold on. That's a double. Remember that. That ball is in play. I thought that baby was out of here up on top. But it's off the wall for a double.
When you see strange things happen in the postseason, it hit the scoreboard. Tony Fernandez has not had a good year from the right side of the plate. And he leads off here with a double.
That's amazing, Jimmy. After talking about that wall, I made that mistake that up above it is solid and there is no room above that padding out there. So it was my mistake all the way. Recover, Yankee fans. Fernandez is on at second base now, and Randy Velarde steps in. There's the bunt going foul.
And with those changes, you know, young Chris Widger, 24-year-old rookie, less than 30 games experience in the big leagues. Now Blowers moves over to first. Not a good glove there, and so a little pressure on Blowers and Doug Strange here. Ironic again, that's something the Yankees do not do much of. Fewer sacrifice bunts than any team in the American League, but here's a chance for one to win them a ball game.
Fernandez away from second. Good stop. He did a great job coming in the other night when they brought this youngster in behind the plate. Chris Widger replacing Wilson. ball and 2 strikes. Fernandez away from second. Charlton.
A lot of pressure on young Chris Widger trying to catch that forkball.
Unbelievable.
He was back there in that 15-inning game.
Charlton, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Fernandez will have to hurry back. He thought about it, and he strayed quite a ways away, and he has been playing with an injured knee, and as he scurried back into second base, might have aggravated it just a bit. Watch here, he had first indicated Jimmy he was going to go to third, and then he pulled back, and you can see there is some obvious pain.
Yeah, that quick move. Trainer Gene Monahan out immediately. Tony caught halfway in between where he thought he might be able to advance, and that quick change of direction is what twisted that knee.
Now here's where Fernandez struck this ball, and there you can see why I made the mistake on it was struck, and I obviously know better than that, because that happens to have been a piece of this building that is very important to the Mariners this year, because right to the right of the 380 sign is where Ken Griffey slammed into it, and that is a solid wall and very much in play. You can see how the padding is up against it. So Fernandez shaking it off on its second base, and Velarde now with a count of 3 balls and 2 strikes. Now the Yankees with the first 2 runners on against a struggling Norm Charlton. Here comes Lou.
Like Cone, Charlton out of gas, and even though Randy Johnson, the premier strikeout pitcher, it is a little different mentality coming in as a reliever. Sometimes those starters, they want a little time to get into the game. Johnson will not have that luxury. He's got to throw instant strikes. Where's Pinella discussing right now with Charlton? No, he's had enough.
Here comes the big fight.
Now pitching for Seattle, number 51, Randy Johnson.
Before the game, how long did he say he could go with Randy?
He said 1 inning. Tie games of the 9th can change that kind of thinking. They're talking right now with Boggs coming up in a potential bunt situation. He's only pitched out of the bullpen twice in his career. Once as a member of the Expos in the late 80s, and once with the Mariners 2 years ago. Again, the advantage for the Yankees in this situation, facing a guy like Johnson, 6'10", if you get the bunt down, it's going to be pretty tough for Johnson to get off the mound and field it. Strawberry with the bat, but I don't think you'll see Johnson. Bernie Williams scores from the right side of the plate if they bunt. Manella will walk Williams, and it'll be Johnson against O'Neill. But when you intentionally walk the bases loaded and bring in a guy, even a Cy Young Award winner in all probability like Johnson, it is not as easy to throw strikes when you're not accustomed to coming out of the bullpen late game situations. You tend to overthrow the ball a little. See how Johnson reacts to it.
If you're wondering about Boggs and the sacrifice bunt, he has 3 since joining the Yankees, 2 in '94 and 1 in '93. So Boggs comes up with Fernandez, having gone in for a little more attention into the dugout. Boggs took the night off in Game 3, and so this is his first at bat against Johnson since 1992. Randy Johnson can do that to a good left-handed hitter. Abelardi away from first. Got the bat, didn't it?
Big break for the Mariners. There's an example. That pitch well out of the strike zone. Tough to bunt. Toughest pitch to bunt's a high fastball. When you haven't laid one down in 2 years, it's even tougher.
Going through the signs with Johnson, and now Randy will step off. Remember, normally it is Dan Wilson back there. In this game and scored 2 runs, steps in.
High heat. That's where Widger had the target. That's where Johnson threw it. Got his game face on in a hurry. See strikeouts or fly balls. He's got some inexperience at shortstop. Not an outstanding fielder at second, and Bauer's not their regular first baseman.
1 ball and no strikes. Starter watches.
Williams, for fans that have not seen him all year, a much better hitter and more power as a right-handed hitter.
Hit high and play ball. Cora calls everybody away on the infield fly rule. it is Paul O'Neill. He too not familiar with Randy Johnson.
The only left-hand hitter that normally plays against Johnson is Don Mattingly. Boggs and O'Neill usually sit out, and that's why.
Strange at third, Rodriguez at short. Will have to be alert. O'Neill, if he can get something, certainly will try to take it the other way on Johnson.
Well, that's cheating. You don't see a guy and then he throws you about a 92-mile-an-hour slider. Well, there have been a lot of feet planted out on that mound today. When you're 6'10", you want to make sure you got a comfortable spot to plant it. So he's doing a little landscaping.
Now Fernandez looks in from second. 0-1 and 2 out. Hit high in the air and playable. Richards got it. Randy Johnson stops in and puts the Yankees away in the ninth. The bottom of the ninth of Game 5. The winner will take on Cleveland. If the Mariners prevail, the Indians jet to the northwest. But if the Yankees come through, they would have to do it in extra innings now. Then the Yankees will go to Cleveland to open the championship series on Tuesday night.
And what that long last inning did, not only tie the game, Ken Griffey Jr. will come to the plate this inning. 11 wins this year, 5 of them in their last at bat, 1 a Griffey home run.
The Mariners have come from behind a total of 45 times this season. Top of the order. Just firing strikes. He has ever since this series began.
Buck Showalter talked about in spring training when Mariano Rivera made the team. A lot of the pitchers, Panamanian Rivera is, that pitch in winter baseball face a lot of big leaguers, big crowds. Confidence that he could pitch in this situation. I think he pitched in one this noisy though.
0-2. And now Blackjack gets up. Along with Pettit. All hands on deck. Coleman has just lined a single.
No time for secrets. And it'll be no secret here. Cora will be bunting. We saw Pettit warming up in the bullpen. You mentioned, Brent, confidence in John Wetland's shot after Griffey has hit 3 home runs off him this year. Just buying some time right here to give McDowell a chance to get loose, because if they were to bring Pettit in where they could walk Griffey, McDowell would face Edgar Martinez.
Jimmy Cora had 13 sacrifice bunts during the season, and that's the second most in the American League.
But it would only be fitting in a game like this. It was the Yankees' inability to get the bunt down and get the men over, something they don't do very often or very well. The Mariners will try to win the game doing something they do well, sacrifice bunt.
And aren't the Cleveland Indians enjoying this?
They'd like to see another 9 innings.
Has come into the game. He has appeared here. We've had a little bit of everything in this divisional playoff between the Yankees and the Mariners, and not done yet. The 23-year-old looks in. Cora's up now. Coleman with all that speed on at first. Squares, pops it up. They cannot get to it.
Yeah, again, the toughest pitch to bunt is a high fastball. You have a tendency to get that bat underneath it, and even though Cora is a good bunter, it'll be a little tougher laying it down against Rivera's high heater.
And Ken Griffey waits. Snap over and sends Vince into the dirt.
That's another option when you have a base stealer like Vince Coleman, 42 on the year. If he can read Rivera, he could steal second. Cora could bunt him to third.
1 foot on the carpet for Coleman. Cora squares. There's the bunt. It's perfect. Velarde with the put out. The series winning runner has moved along to second base. It's Junior, a chance to win it. Now ordinarily you would say, well, wait a minute, you got first base open. Would you give him a chance to even swing the bat? Well, perhaps he would walk, but you've got to also think about who's next over there, and that happens to be Edgar Martinez. So
what a great
really
option.
Protect each other in this lineup. So Edgar will be coming on.
Hitters have a saying around the batting cage. The simplest statement in baseball. Boy, what success against Rivera. Bunt him over, get him in. That's all the Mariners are trying to do.
And the chant begins already. Yesterday, Edgar Martinez with the Mariners down 5. Wants to save the eardrums, and Showalter comes out to the mound. Man, gonna make a move here against Edgar.
Doesn't get any better. The league's best hitter against a former Cy Young Award winner.
Like Jack McDowell is coming on. And then, of course, later, with the bases loaded in the 8th inning, Martinez again stepped up, and this time hit a slam. He drove in 7 runs yesterday with those 2 dramatic home runs.
Checking with Buck Showalter. Want to make sure they have the signs right with Fernandez and Velarde. And be aware of Coleman's ability to steal third. And the challenge to Mike Stanley is to block that McDowell forkball. Oftentimes, again, talked about with Randy Johnson, you're used to being a starter. You come in fresh out of the bullpen, not apt to have good command of that splitter.
The man of the hour yesterday. It was one of the greatest hitting performances ever in postseason play. 2 home runs. And then this.
Hit deep to center field. Back, back, back. Put it on the scoreboard. A grand slam for Edgar Martinez. His second home run of the game.
Well, let's see. 50% in 2 days, not bad for me, Jimmy.
Wow. I mean, baseball's not all the way back. It's going to take a long time, but games like this will sure speed up the process. Yeah, it is a baseball town. It's become one in September of '95 and October.
Alone with his thoughts right now. McDowell, who was the opponent of the big unit when the series moved west, and how fortunes have changed after that 15-inning drama unfolded in the Bronx. The Mariners win 2 in a row here, and now a chance to win it as Jack McDowell will come on now and make the first relief appearance of his career.
You don't often pitch around the guy with third base open, but if you check who's on deck, you might not give Edgar Martinez too much to hit. Take a chance with a rookie.
Martinez ready. Back in the count.
That would be the question mark with McDowell. Missed 15 days, a couple of starts with a strained muscle under the scapula. Started a game, said his shoulder or back is all right, but his control has not been as sharp since the injury.
Most of us who enjoy lip reading were denied that pleasure by blackjack that time, and now you go back to work. A ball and no strikes here on Edgar Martinez.
Runners to be aware of. Jack McDowell has one of the best pickoff moves for a right-hander in baseball.
It's 2 balls and a strike.
Putting the sign on now.
Reached for that pitch. Got him. Edgar Martinez is fanned by Jack McDowell in his first relief appearance. And now the youngster, Alex Rodriguez, will come up with 2 out.
Wow. A splitter that hung a little high, but in a zone where Martinez just swung over it. Actually got him out with a hitter's pitch. You can see the disgust on his face.
Alex Rodriguez due to take over in 96. Could be the cover boy in 95. McDowell trying to give the Yankees another chance in the 10th inning. Ground ball is short. Fernandez up with it to Buhner, and they forced him, and we'll go to the 10th inning. It's a series that just won't end. It really has been a wonderful series, and all of us will take away some great memories from this. Really deserve to go into extra innings when you think about all the drama that we have had through those 2 games back in the Bronx. 15 innings, ending in the rain with Jim Leyritz. Then out here through 2 more. Now Ruben Sierra against Randy Johnson. It is interesting as we look at Randy and Jim Cott. You may have noticed, put a little asterisk on his comment. Lou said 1 inning, but you know how managers are in these situations. Ball on the strike. Well, it reminded me of Earl Weaver for just a moment at the corner of the dugout.
Full pack. That high breaking ball to Edgar Martinez got this crowd quiet for a while, but now they're back into it.
Two balls and 2 strikes, and Sierra's ready. Drifting over toward the third base seats. Just incredible here. Two. Now you wonder where Piniella will go next. He's lost confidence in Ayala. Sierra went. He is punched out by Morrison. Butterfield argues, and Sierra not happy. And Showalter will save his designated hitter.
Yeah, he wants to keep him in the ball game. Seen a lot of those today because we've had pitchers like Cone and Bennis and now Johnson with good breaking balls. He did not appear to go. Morrison saw it the other way.
And here's Mattingly, who prior to Friday night had enjoyed pretty good success against Johnson, but not that evening.
go with it, Brett, when you said, I wonder where Lou Piniella will go next. I think if Johnson can't get him out, he's going to Tampa.
Two. One out, top of the 10th. Yankees 4, Mariners 4. The big unit on in relief. His second inning. And he's got Mattingly again. 6 hitters, 3 strikeouts. Gerald Williams on.
And this could be a most unlikely hero for the Yankees, because if there's one hitter on their roster that can turn on a Randy Johnson fastball, Mattingly couldn't. It throws him. It's Gerald Williams. Hit 2 home runs off Johnson in a game a couple of years ago.
Strike with 2 out. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 10th. Buhner, Widger, and Strange are due up for the Mariners. It's not the most potent part of that lineup, and you've got to wonder if Piniella will ask Johnson, or vice versa, for a 3rd inning if the Mariners can't score in the bottom half.
He might plead with him.
It's 1-2. Got him. Struck out the side in the top of the 10th. Seattle's next, and we'll be back after this from our ABC stations. Johnson on 2 days rest. Is better than most with a week off. And now Jay Buhner. Bottom of the 10th inning, tied at 4 in Seattle. The winner draws Cleveland. And Jack McDowell, who was Johnson's opponent Friday night at Jim Cott, you had the observation. Seems like a week ago this series began here in Seattle. Good pitch right at the knees.
Lou Piniella has 1 player left on his bench. Didn't like that call. Rich Amaral, right-hand hitter, has some speed.
Line drive, base hit, left field. Gerald Williams up with it, and Buhner takes a big turn, and again the Mariners are knocking on the door. Now Chris Widger.
Take a deep breath and try to bunt him over, and even though Buhner's not a base stealer, Sam Mejia's first base coach reminded him McDowell has a quick move to first. And that discussion is about off this turf. If the infielders get a good break, they'll try to nail Buhner at second. Mattingly and Boggs solid at the corners.
Jimmy, we talked about the NFL scores a little bit earlier. And I got confirmation on the 4 overtime games. It's the first day in the history of the NFL that they have had 4 overtime games on one Sunday.
Only fitting. Yeah, we saw the graphic a while ago of the extra inning games. I was fortunate to be covering that Game 7 of the '91 World Series. Minnesota won it 1-zip. This is right there with it.
So Chris Widger, who took part in one classic earlier, and McDowell snaps the throw with Buhner on at first.
See, with that good pickoff move, Buhner's not able to get a good lead, so they might try to throw him out at second on a bunt.
I think that the catcher got in front of Evans on that pitch. When Stanley rose up, it just might have broken the sight line.
Widger checking with third base coach Sam Perlaza. He may not have had the bunt sign. Or Perlaza reminding the rookie, don't bunt it to Mattingly.
One ball and no strikes. Buhner steps off first. Foul ball. He hit that so hard that if Mattingly had come up with it on the short hop, he'd have had a shot at Buhner.
Oh, if that stayed fair, the Yankees got a double play. They got a break when it went foul.
Bottom of the 10th. One and two on the young catcher.
Looking for a sign with 2 strikes. There's only one. Made some contact and advanced the runner.
Foul and he's out. I believe he even went after a bad pitch that time.
Yeah, it's a big gamble by Lou Piniella. I think the one thing he wanted to stay out of was the double play, so he went ahead and gambled on the sacrifice bunt.
Third baseman, Doug Strange.
The breaking ball, and what that does by staying out of the double play, if Strange does, is it also would get Mike Blowers to the plate.
It's possible that when he bent down, Widger believed that it was going to be a strike and he would have to go after it because it was a late Strange reaction, as you saw. And speaking of Strange, here's Doug, now the hitter. He's taken over at third base with Blowers switching to first. Tino Martinez, who homered off McDowell Friday night, is out of the lineup. He was lifted for a pinch run. 0-1 now.
Well, you talk about taking your game to another level. When you look at Jack McDowell's eyes, started Friday night, as you mentioned, coming off that strained muscle in the back. A little determination there.
Ground ball to second. Buhner fires to Fernandez. A quick relay, not in time.
Looks like he might have caught a knee. Again, players, they're spilling everything out there going into second base hard, and Buhner caught probably Tony Fernandez's knee right in the helmet. Nice pivot by Velarde, off balance throw. And close at first.
Caught him accidentally with the foot right in Jay's face. Shaking up on that one, partner.
Might have bloodied his lip a little bit.
Flowers, who has moved from third to first, steps in. Doug Strange, the runner at first, but now 2 out, bottom of the 10th inning. Ground ball. Fernandez with a tremendous catch. Fires to Buhner, not in time.
Left fielder Vince Coleman.
Fernandez in the hole makes the nice throw. Tony always with that on-the-run flip toss. Can't get enough on it, and Widger with the head-first slide in just in time.
And up comes Vince Coleman.
Again, those corner outfielders become real important. Gerald Williams playing very shallow, and O'Neill is too deep and right to be able to throw the runner out.
Strange away from second.
A lot of that was David Cone.
Now McDowell handled Coleman until Vince's third at bat in game 3, and that's when Vince rocketed a triple. No balls and a strike to the Mariner left fielder. Ground ball. Mattingly goes to Fernandez, and the side is retired here at the bottom of the 10th. The series that won't end. One moment after another. On 2 days rest, Jack McDowell and Randy Johnson continue on to the 11th inning.
And I think McDowell, he went 5 on Friday night. He'd go 9 if he had to. I doubt Piniella would let Johnson go more than this one.
Johnson has faced 6 hitters. He has struck out 4 of them. And here's the Yankee catcher.
Might be getting close to empty now. The one thing you really feel coming back short rest, lose the snap and the breaking ball.
Way down now, 3 balls and no strikes. Fernandez due up. And Stanley on 4 pitches.
And now you got an interesting situation, and Buck Showalter is going to do it right now. Mike Stanley will come out of the game. Pat Kelly, he's got plenty of bench players left. Jim Leyritz, Russ Davis, Darryl Strawberry. So Kelly will run, and Fernandez will, in all probability, bunt him over.
So here's Fernandez, who doubled his last time up. Fernandez with a beauty bunt, and the sacrifice moves the runner along. Pat Kelly to second base.
Don't walk many hitters to get to Wade Boggs. In fact, it won't be Wade Boggs. It'll be Jim Leyritz who's going to go in the game to catch for Mike Stanley anyway. So that would mean the Mariners will pitch to Velarde. Chance to be a hero twice in a week, Leyritz.
So the Yankees now with the lead run again away from second base.
Lou Piniella looks at that, he might think twice about pitching to him with first base open.
Base hit. Kelly coming around. He's going to score on Coleman. Yankees lead it now. Randy Velarde has single to left field. Pat Kelly dashes home off Randy Johnson. They have finally broken through.
And Randy Velarde, one of those veterans left over from the Lou Piniella era, who has really had a tough series, continues his success. Coleman comes up and not a strong throwing arm, takes that high bounce off the turf, and Kelly slides in easily. A timely move by Buck Showalter.
And now the young man who ended that incredible drama in the Bronx. 1:15 a.m. with the rain coming down. Turned in 15 solid innings behind the plate. He'll be in there in the bottom of the 11th inning as the catcher. Johnson backs away now. With the Yankees leading at 5-4. Looks calm, but stomach has to be churning right now. Showalter knows that he's going to need some arms loose down to that bullpen. Andy Pettit has been up already. A left-hander. Where does he go from the right side? Wickman maybe. Leyritz backs out. Because the heart of that Mariner order is due up. Joey Cora, Ken Griffey, and Edgar Martinez. The bottom of the inning as Leyritz takes a strike. It's 1-2 at the knees. Now what Leyritz should say to Evans,
boy, he better be
we get that.
He better be careful.
Don't throw anything now.
Jorge Posada, a backup catcher left. Buck Showalter out of the dugout immediately. Umpires have shown great restraint in this series. You can imagine the emotions of the players, and there haven't been any quick hooks.
Yeah, veteran crew. They have not looked for trouble. When either dugout's been on them, they have more or less looked the other way. Of course, the umpiring crew changed once they moved out to the West Coast. There was a little more trouble back in the Bronx. And now Bernie Williams is due to come up. Here is the pitch.
Well, that's knee-high inside corner. Leyritz didn't see it that way. I didn't think that was a bad pitch at all. You could see in the side shot it comes across the knees.
And now Bernie Williams steps in, hitting right-handed, and Mariners will put him on.
Many times you walk a hitter to get to a former batting champion, but they'll take their chances on O'Neill. And Brent, when you said who would Buck Showalter go to, I think with the gutty performance we've seen already with Jack McDowell, he has complete confidence in him going through the heart of that Mariner order. Cora, Griffey, and Edgar. Three Mariners due up.
And now Paul O'Neill. Yankees lead it 5-4. Top of the 11th. 2 out. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike here with 2 out, top of the 11th. Enjoying every moment of this one, every member of the Cleveland Indians, as these two continue to battle.
Actually, Johnson, who really, those of you that haven't seen a lot of him, you'd think of him as a power pitcher, 294 strikeouts, but he has become a complete pitcher, and he's really gone to the breaking ball more in this inning. Hasn't thrown a lot of fastballs. Want to make sure, Brent, when you look back at this ball game, and you can keep all the numbers and talk about the hitting stars, but in its simplest form, it's throwing strikes. And the thing that has cost the Mariner pitching staff today, as Bobby Cuellar looks down at the turf, 4 of the 5 Yankee runs have been put on by base on balls.
To O'Neill, called him out on the low strike. But the Yankees score a run to go ahead in the top of the 11th. 3 outs away from Cleveland. Jack McDowell won a Cy Young Award, accomplished a lot of things in his career, but he has yet to win postseason game in the majors. And with Velarde moving over to third, Kelly's at second, and Leyritz moves in behind the plate, and now Joey Cora will lead it off, and Velarde shortens up just about a step at third.
Former teammates in that '93 championship series facing each other.
Brought a live arm in on 2 days rest. Jack McDowell on Friday night, working 5 in the 3rd innings, gave up 5 runs, struck out 4, but he walked 4. There's that bunt, and Mattingly again. He makes the move, and he didn't get it.
We're going to have the same argument. No, Dan Morrison said no way. He went out of the line to avoid the tag.
Now it's interesting because the umpires discussed this rule. Clearly, Mattingly making a move on it, and they said that Cora would have a good 3 feet. That they would establish the line for him if Mattingly made a move. This is the 2nd time that the play has come up in this series, and this umpiring crew has been all over it.
And that lane down there really comes into play on a throw to first base in case the runner is inside that lane.
So Cora with the bunt has started it off again. And now here is Ken Griffey.
remember the McDowell pickoff move.
Just missing outside. Lawrence disgusted. You could tell by his body language. Have a word with the umpire without turning around to show him up. Now he checks the dugout to see if Buck's got anything on with Cora on at first base. Get on the ground, base hit. Bernie Williams up with it, but Cora scampers to third base. And the Mariners still refuse to lose.
Took the high fastball and got on top of it. No chance for Kelly on this turf, and Williams had to scamper over to cut it off.
Tying run on third base and nobody out for Edgar Martinez as McDowell snaps one over to Mattingly. No activity down in the Yankee bullpen in right field.
And both Mariner coaches reminding the runners McDowell has the fake to third, throw to first move.
It's up to McDowell. No balls and a strike to Martinez. Line drive. We are tied. Griffin is coming around. In the corner's Bernie. He's going to try to score. Here's the division championship. Mariners win it. Mariners win it.
Finally paid off for us. You got anything left for the Indians? Yeah. We had a day off and they come in here. Brett, unbelievable down here.
It was an incredible series, and the New York Yankees have lost it in heartbreaking fashion.
Center the hero today. What a series you've had. Tell me about that last one.
Yes, you know, I got behind in the count again, and I was trying just to make contact, and he left one high enough for me I was able to make good contact in that one, and, you know, we just celebrated.
series than you've had. Just incredible.
I tell you what, if you're going to tell me before this series that I was going to have this kind of series, never crossed my mind, but I'm enjoying every minute right now.
Brett.
Thank you, Jack. Here is the winning moment as he crashed this drive into left field. And as soon as Griffey reached second, you knew he was intent on scoring. Taking one quick look, and then it didn't matter. Here come the Indians. Series comes to a breathtaking end. And tonight's Chevrolet player of this classic is Edgar Martinez. And in conjunction with the program, Chevrolet will contribute a total of $50,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America in the names of all players of the game for the '95 Major League season. Tuesday night, the drama begins all over again. The American and National League Championship Series will have the action at 8 Eastern. For Jim, Con, and Jack Arute, I'm Brett Musburger, reminding you of what's ahead on Tuesday night. The drama that won't end in Seattle. So long, everybody.
Base hit into the gap, and they could win it with Junior speed to stretch. And the 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. Swung on the line, down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't. It just continues. Edgar Martinez with a double, whipped down the left field line, and they are going crazy at the Kingdome. The Mariners will play for the American League Championship beginning on Tuesday night against the Cleveland Indians. My friends, I do know this, as the rock and roll
Boy, I tell you what, we had a couple chances after that to come back and win, and what do you know, Joey sparked us again with the bunt right there, and you get the best player in baseball comes up with a big hit, and the best hitter comes up with the hugest one of all, and nobody was happier than I was. I tell you, it was a hard-fought series. It was tough. The guys in the middle of our lineup had big games for us. We go on to Cleveland, and it's going to be a tough series there. The rest of us are going to have to do a better job. Certainly I am, no doubt about that. But, boy, what a win. It was a lot of fun. Everybody did what they had to do. We had, I don't know how many times I've bunted in the last 4 or 5 days, but it seems like a lot. And that's what you got to do to win. And, oh, man, I'll tell you, what a great feeling. Randy Johnson today coming in.
I didn't time myself. I was just running. I mean, it's a do-or-die situation, and here we live.
The way this team's been playing all year, don't you think it's kind of fitting that that you won like in the bottom of the inning like that? It seems like you've been doing it all year.
We just want to play strong baseball, hard baseball, and never give up. And you know, even we're down by 1. I mean, we don't want to give up. I mean, even if we got 2 outs, we still never want to give up. And we did.
Ken, what has really simplified throughout the whole year is the dynasty for me. Based on the fact that opening day, I wasn't on an opening day roster, had to go to Homestead, go to minor leagues, then getting released, and now I find myself with a chance to be in the World Series. It's a dream come true.
The way this team won, come from behind all year, it's kind of fitting that they won it like that tonight, isn't it?
Well, you know, my heart was beating and pounding all day long. I mean, we was battling and we fell behind, and I know David Cone is a great friend of mine, and he's a competitor, a bulldog. I mean, I thought when he got that lead, I mean, he'd never give in, and he keep you off balance, but, you know, these guys have determination, desire, and dedication that shows that that's the makeup of the Mariano Ball Club, and it's been that way all year long.
Edgar strikes out.